have our very first family movie fights.
Right.
I'm excited. Okay, we've been working on this for a long time. We've wanted to do it for a long time. We've been working on this for about 2 weeks now. Got the questions all together. Everybody gave me their answers. We got them all in. I got the speed round questions. Bethany's helping out with the fact checking and helping me out judge when I need it. Because I'm going to need it. Because they're all family here. And it's not personal. It's not personal.
It's movie fights.
Right, exactly. And so
It's not personal. It's just business.
There you go.
Exactly.
Okay, so the way it'll work is we'll start with the first questions on our list, and then we'll move on. John will go first, then Nikki, then Levi, then Nikki will go first the next question. Levi, then John. Levi goes first the third question. John, then Nikki. I'll go through each of you. You tell me what your choice is and why you chose it. Then I'll go on to the next person. And then once everybody's done, we fight. When you hear the bell, that means it's over. And I have to tally up the results and figure out who won. Two people with the highest scores will move on to the speed round, which is 5 questions that you guys didn't have time to prepare for. And the winner of that is the winner of it all. So, I guess we just get started now. So, the first question we had on our list was the most overrated actor or actress. So, there's a lot of movie people out there that have a lot of hype that may not be worth it. So, starting with John, go ahead and tell me your choice and why you chose it.
I chose Leonardo DiCaprio as the most overrated actor. And the reason I chose him is because he is the most overrated actor.
Disagree.
Okay. he is. Nikki, go ahead.
I chose Jennifer Aniston because I feel like the hairstylist on the show Friends convinced the entire country that she was beautiful and America's sweetheart. And she's not, and she can't act, and that's basically why I chose her.
Okay.
And I chose Melissa McCarthy because I feel that she is unoriginal and is just really a female Chris Farley. And I don't think she's that funny. And everyone thinks she is.
Okay.
But what's wrong with being a female
ahead.
Chris Farley? What's wrong with that?
Well, it's just that it's not original and it's not funny. In the role she's in, it's not a funny thing. And I think the track record of her movies is kind of showing that now.
Well, how many women actually do physical comedy like that at all ever?
I agree.
Most. She's
she
the only one who's doing that.
She is
right
supplying
now.
a very specific niche in the movie going experience that no one else is filling. So,
her roles
if
aren't
there's
always
no
good,
one else
but
there, I don't see her as being rated higher than she deserves to be rated. I think she's appropriately rated right.
But I think right now she is seen in many cases as the number one choice for a female comedian. And I don't think that's true. I don't think that's a good... Because when Ghostbusters came out, she was one of the first roles announced. That she was playing that role. And when it came out, it's like it wasn't funny. It didn't work. And I think that's what's happening a lot, is that she's getting cast a lot of times as the lead role, the lead female comedic role. And I don't think that's really deserved. I think
I don't think she was the lead comedic role in Ghostbusters. I think Kristen Wiig was kind of there's Kristen they basically in Ghostbusters were who are funny women right now, and they chose those women and put them in the movie. It's not that Melissa McCarthy was above all the other women that they put in Ghostbusters.
I didn't look it up, but I'm pretty sure. I'd like to look up if she was the top billed, if she was the top paid actress in that movie.
I wouldn't be surprised if she was, but Ghostbusters was a hot mess. I don't think you can point to that as saying, like, that's what's wrong with movies, because, well, it obviously is, but for all the other reasons first.
But I think she continues to get roles, like in whatever that Boss movie is, that where she's...
Oh, yeah. She's like the Martha Stewart lady.
Yeah, she keeps getting roles like that. Like, I looked it up. The only movie that has a really positive... spin from Rotten Tomatoes is Spy that she got, and that's her only movie that's positive. And I feel like she's not only because she started as Sookie in Gilmore Girls, and everybody loved her in that role.
Absolutely,
She was great
because she's awesome.
But when she morphed into this kind of other comedic role that then she started getting all these jobs for, I just think it just isn't funny, and people keep trying to prove it, but it's not. If she would morph into a more different role, she might get it. But I feel like right now she doesn't really deserve to be touted as the number one comedic female right now.
I don't know. I think she honestly, like, I don't begrudge any woman in Hollywood who can not weigh 90 pounds and be famous and just, like, be doing her thing and be doing work. It's like,
that alone,
you go, girl. I mean, like, you start
pass.
off on Gilmore Girls, like, as the plucky little sidekick, and then you become, like, a top-billed actress. Like, I don't begrudge her that at all.
Yeah, and the reason that she is as famous as she is because maybe she's actually funny, and she has all those strikes going against her.
Yeah.
You know? I'd leave her alone. I think Jennifer Aniston is kind of America's sweetheart little girl. She's old though. But
even in the 90s.
But you know what? I disagree. She still looks good. There is a lot of movies she does. She still looks good.
She still looks. I mean, she's aging well.
She's aging
very
well.
Because she kind of looks the same as she did in the night, like 20 years ago. I'll give her that. But 20 years ago, she wasn't that pretty either. Like, she has, like, a square, manly jaw and a horse face, and her eyes are, like, small and close together. And the only good thing about her is, like, her body and her hair. And she can't act. Like, when you watch her on Friends, we watched this video on Crack where they were, like, pointing out the mannerisms of every, like, famous actor. Yeah. And on Friends, she is constantly, like, clearing her throat. That's, like, her thing. Like, she's like, blah, blah, blah. Blah, blah, blah. That's how she delivers every single freaking line on that stupid show. She's not... And then every single movie she's ever been in, she's played the same character. She's played, like, Rachel in every single movie she's ever been in. She can't act. She's not pretty. You know, she's famous because she, like, was married to Brad Pitt and he divorced her.
Well, here's the thing, though, with Jennifer Aniston, though. People really do like Jennifer Aniston, and a lot of the reason is because I think she looks like the girl that when you go to a bar, she's on the other end of the bar, and she looks really tired. And she looks like a girl I see every day. She looks like a normal person, kind of.
Why was she,
but
like,
here's
the top?
Here's the thing. Neither Melissa McCarthy nor Jennifer Aniston are rated on the level that someone like Leonardo DiCaprio is rated. They're not overrated. They're appropriately rated. Leonardo DiCaprio is the only one of any of these that is an Academy Award winning actor who is not good at what he does. Jennifer Aniston fulfills her niche. Melissa McCarthy fulfills her little specific little niche. Leonardo DiCaprio is terrible. He is like a high school level actor. You can tell he plays the same role in every movie he's ever been in. His characters never grow from beginning to end. They're always the yelly, I'm going to point in your face and yell and be really mad. And you can tell acting is about reacting. Acting is about being observant of human nature, and he is not observant. He does not know how normal people act. Name one subtle performance from Leonardo DiCaprio on the level of even a lesser actor. Like, I'm not even talking Daniel Day-Lewis. Let's talk about even Joaquin Phoenix, who is like a pretty good actor. Leonardo DiCaprio is not even half to the level of acting that Joaquin Phoenix is. And he's not even considered a good actor. But Leonardo DiCaprio has an Oscar, and Joaquin doesn't have anything. And he's amazing. Name one subtle performance from Leonardo
Catch
DiCaprio.
Me If You Can.
Catch Me If You Can. I think he didn't scream at all in that movie. I mean, except you're gonna have to catch me, Carl.
No, here's the thing. Leonardo DiCaprio is a movie star. That guy looks good. He sells tickets. He's a movie star, and he can fill seats in theaters, and I don't begrudge him that. But he's not an actor. He's a movie star who's screaming and fighting his way to become noticed as an actor, and you can tell in the roles that he picks, he does not pick ensemble roles. He would never pick something like Ocean's 11 like Brad Pitt would. I would consider him to be like a Brad Pitt, actor level.
Okay.
And Brad Pitt is a team player. Leonardo DiCaprio is not a team player. He only dates Victoria's Secrets models. He's only the top billed actor in every movie he's ever been in, and he will not play second fiddle to anyone. Overrated. Number 1.
Yeah, but okay, Leonardo DiCaprio started off as like a teen heartthrob in before What's Eating Gilbert Grape in what's that show? Growing Pains.
Well, he was a teen heartthrob in macaroni commercials.
Okay.
That's where he started.
Then he was in What's Eating Gilbert Grape, and he was
was
like
great in
16
that.
years old when he did that.
He was great in Gilbert
like,
Grape.
That's what like launched his career as an actual actor. Like, you
Yeah.
give anyone a role of playing a mentally challenged person, and especially when they're 16 years old, and they're gonna like overdo it. Like, he did it just right.
But
like,
he was actually good in that.
he
But
was good
playing
in that.
mentally retarded people is a little below the belt. I mean, look at Sean Penn in something like I Am Sam. He got jokes made after him for 10 years after that.
Yeah, but
that's
Leo
like,
didn't.
That's very, like, I want an Oscar type stuff. He did it good because he was so young and nobody knew who he was, so people actually thought he was retarded.
But
Then, secondly, Titanic.
He was great
He
in
made the
Titanic.
entire country fall in love with him.
He did.
And if you were a girl in 1997 and you saw Titanic and you claim that you didn't fall in love with Leonardo DiCaprio, you are a liar. Because everybody did. And that's
I
just
mean,
the fact of the
He's
matter.
a good-looking guy.
who wouldn't want to spit off the edge of the Titanic with him? Seriously.
Yeah, hello.
So, but
Yeah.
when
I've not
looked at-
slit my wrists for him, but...
And then he was
That's
in that
just
movie
me.
that I didn't see where he like cut his hand because he had
Okay.
the
Oh, and
glass.
Django. Okay, that's
Okay,
that's approach.
that's a whole nother
that's-
level.
That's definitely acting. That's
It's not
definitely-
acting. It's
that's-
not acting.
He was like
This is a
into
guy-
his role. He didn't even stop.
Because he knew he was going to get an award for it. And he didn't.
But he didn't.
And
he
got
didn't.
super mad, so he's like, I didn't get an award for cutting my hand. What can I do next year? I'll
Get
be in a movie
hypothermia.
by Alejandro Gonzalez Iñárritu, and I'll sleep inside a dead horse, and I'll eat a moose liver, and be out in the cold, and grow my gross facial hair, which he cannot grow. and he got an Oscar for it. And someone like Peter O'Toole,
How long are we at?
Lawrence of Arabia, himself,
Oh, okay.
nominated for 8 Oscars, never won until they gave him one just as a pity Oscar before he died. And then as soon as he got it, he died the next year.
Yeah.
There's really
Well,
good people.
I feel
Listen
like-
to these people. Harrison Ford, Gary Oldman, Samuel L. Jackson, Edward Norton, Tom Cruise, Ray Fiennes, Bill Murray, Harrison Ford, I said that twice, Joaquin Phoenix, Peter O'Toole. None of them have ever won an Oscar, but Leonardo DiCaprio does. He's not
But
as good as
Oscars
any of those
aren't
guys.
anything though. Like
Yeah,
aren't
Oscars-
everything. I shouldn't say they're not anything.
That's my point. The Oscars rate an actor, and he is now rated because he won an
But here's
Oscar as the best actor.
Here's the thing.
from last year.
Though,
and he's
here's
not.
the Oscars are looking for a certain thing, right? There are a lot of actors that are better than Leonardo DiCaprio, but they're not delivering the thing that the Oscars are looking for.
But
and
the question
Leo is doing
overrated
that.
actor.
Leo is
The Oscar rates
giving
you.
Oscar type performances, those intense, like emotional performances.
But they're not good performances.
But you look at
That's
you look
what's
at his,
so sad. That's why he's overrated.
But all of his movies, he's been in very good movies and carried very good movies like Inception,
Great.
Titanic,
Yeah, he was awesome.
Catch Me If You Can.
Yeah.
he's carried these really good movies
Because he's
as
a movie
an
star.
actor.
The
As
guy's
an actor, though.
He's a natural movie star.
But
he's not an actor.
But from a filmmaker standpoint, he's been able to take that and put that movie and make it real. And that's what an actor needs to do, especially with movies like Inception that are complicated, that are off the wall. You need to be able to make it real, and he made it real. And that's why I think he is a good actor. Especially like when you look at his filmography, you see when he was young, he was kind of like the Beatles. He went from being young to playing, teeny bopper stuff to being just the teenage sensation, and that was like his early Beatles years. But then he got into like the Sgt. Peppers. He started doing real roles, real complex roles, roles that he had to do a lot of research for, like Shutter Island, where he did a lot of research and looking into mentally ill people, and did a good job in that role and making that role real. That's why I feel like he's appropriately related. He deserves that Oscar because he's been in so many movies that have blown up that are really, really popular in popular culture. And really, that's what the Oscars are awarding, in a way, is the popular culture contributors, the people who are the best that year.
The Beatles, however, got more experimental as they progressed and got more into their craft. Leonardo DiCaprio just started yelling more. So it would have been like if the Beatles went from Rubber Soul
to like heavy metal
to
music.
Kill 'Em All or to Ride the Lightning. It just yelled loud because you can tell in his brain he's thinking, I'm acting better because I'm yelling more.
Okay. I think I want to hear the final arguments for everybody. I heard a lot about against Melissa McCarthy, and a lot big debate about Leonardo DiCaprio, but I haven't heard a whole lot about Jennifer Aniston. So, John, go ahead. Final arguments.
The reason we haven't heard a lot about Jennifer Aniston is because nobody cares about Jennifer Aniston. And she's not rated anywhere. Nobody cares. Nobody hates her except for Nikki. And I think she's rated appropriately. Nobody cares. She's not overrated. It's not like Steven Spielberg's going to make his new movie and have Jennifer Aniston in it. That would be like, wait, she's a little bit, underrated to be in a Spielberg movie. And she isn't. Nobody cares about her. She's not overrated.
Okay, so why is yours the right choice then?
Leonardo DiCaprio?
Yeah.
I think I've said everything I need to say about him. He's not a good actor. He's a movie star.
Okay.
And he's overrated.
Nikki?
I think Jennifer Aniston is overrated because you could go to the grocery store right now and you can find a tabloid with Jennifer Aniston's face on it. Like, still, in the year 2017. I could bet you $1 trillion that you can go to the grocery store and find a tabloid with Jennifer Aniston's face on her. She's on it. She's still considered to be this, like, America's sweetheart woman. Like, yeah, she's not in that many roles anymore, but she's still in the public psyche all the time. And it's because of her role in Friends, which wasn't even that good. And she's not that pretty. She doesn't have a pretty face, and she can't act. And all of the movies she has acted in have been crappy romantic comedies. And still somehow she's like America's sweetheart, and everybody like is worried about who she's going to be married to after Brad Pitt divorced her and like all this other stuff happened. Like, why? No one cares. Melissa McCarthy, she started off in a secondary role in Gilmore Girls as the sweet little plucky sidekick, and she rose to stardom as a chubby comedic actress. I give her credit for that. And Leonardo DiCaprio is delivering the kind of roles that the Academy is looking for in their Oscar nominees, and that people in general think an Oscar nominee should be. Therefore, they gave him the Oscar.
Okay. Levi?
Leo DiCaprio is a great actor. If I was making a movie, I would want him as my lead role. And I think he did deserve that Oscar because I feel like he did put himself through a lot to put himself into the right acting shoes, the right position to properly deliver his performance in The Revenant, almost getting hypothermia, almost dying to deliver that role.
That's not acting.
It's experimenting. it's method acting. It's experimenting. Jennifer Aniston, I think she's a lovely woman, and she probably has a great personality. But I think that she though she's been typecast as a romantic comedy actress. Happens to a lot of actresses, but I feel like she delivers on that, so she's appropriately rated. Even like in Just Go With It, very stupid movie, Adam Sandler movie, but yeah, she was very serious, and I felt like she was very believable.
I've seen the cover somewhere.
She was really believable in that movie, and
okay.
I feel like from a filmmaker, it's like. You need an actor or an actress to take that role seriously, and I feel like Jennifer Aniston did that, and I think that's proper. Melissa McCarthy, I feel like she is. I'm not saying she shouldn't be an actress. I think she can be a funny actress, but when I look at the type of roles she's given, it's the type of roles that a comedian that is really funny, that has delivered great, hilarious performances, like Chris Farley. Yeah, maybe she's a female Chris Farley, but Chris Farley made really funny movies, and he was a really funny person. So I don't think she deserves to be getting those kinds of independent movie pulling roles, and I think that's why she's overrated.
Okay. All right. I heard a lot about each of these.
One eternity later.
So that's what I got out of the argument.
So who are
Bethany,
you choosing?
what was the fact checking on that 16?
What's the Twitter poll, Stephanie? Stephanie?
Stephanie.
Leonardo DiCaprio was 19.
19, okay.
In that case, wasn't that good of a role. In 19, you should be given roles like that on a daily basis.
Yeah,
You
exactly.
basically are mentally
right.
handicapped at 19. Bethany, what did you think? Who do you think?
I was trying to find some information on Levi's claim that Melissa McCarthy
Ghostbusters?
was the highest paid actress in Ghostbusters. I wasn't able to find what the other main actresses made. But I was able to find this article from Forbes.com from August of last year that said Melissa McCarthy was ranked the second highest grossing actress, second to Jennifer Lawrence, who was the highest. Melissa McCarthy pocketed $33 million.
She's selling tickets.
And one comment it made on here was that it was thanks to, in part, a reported 8-figure payday for Ghostbusters.
Wow.
So I would say that
8 figures.
I was probably pretty close on that.
What
That
is that?
is possible.
That's
Eight
at least
is-
$10 million.
Yeah. It's in the tens of millions of dollars.
I think they spent like 100.
Okay, so what did you think though? Who are you?
I don't know. I am kind of leaning towards agreeing with Nikki on Jennifer Aniston. I do think her comments about the way she was portrayed in Friends, that she really hasn't played a character very, very far from Rachel in any movie that she's been in since then. I liked her point about the hairdresser making her seem beautiful.
It's because she is beautiful.
I liked what John said too about Leonardo DiCaprio just always yelling. And I was thinking about different movies that Leonardo DiCaprio's in, and I'm like, wow, he is always yelling.
He does
does
yell
yell
a
a
lot.
lot.
I would like to say that no one made a rebuttal about a subtle actorly performance he's ever
Catch
given.
me if you
Catch me
can.
if you can.
That's not subtle. That's just not acting. That's just being a cute guy.
Name a non-subtle role that Harrison Ford has played.
Non-subtle? Witness.
Wait.
Animated for an...
All right.
What's your
All
decision?
right.
Ah,
Make a decision, Chase. You're the judge. You have
Oh,
to,
this
you
is
have to decide
man. Now I know how he feels.
Wait.
Okay,
What's the word?
He
What's
was
the
not
word?
This is tough.
This is tough.
this is tough. This is tough. I understand why he says that all the time now.
Wait,
I think-
non-subtle? No.
I think
I don't know what's going on.
Bombastic.
I think Nikki's choice was the weakest, but she defended it the best and attacked everybody else the hardest. Whereas John's choice might have been the strongest, but I feel like he didn't follow through on how hard he brought it to the fore. And Levi was just in the middle of both of those. I would have liked to have heard a little bit more from him on negative things about Melissa McCarthy that she did. So I'm gonna give it to Nikki on that one. I think I'm gonna give it to Nikki on that one.
Thank you.
But it was a good one. Yeah, we don't have a clapping.
We
We need a clap app. We need a clapping app.
Clap at.
Okay.
That was the wrong choice, by the way.
Okay, I need to get something. All right, so we're moving on to Nikki, who's going
This
first
is
here.
completely an original idea.
Right.
Nikki's going first here. The question is, what movie alien would you most want to be and why? So go ahead, Nikki. Tell me what you chose.
I chose being a Time Lord. Because Time Lords have the technology and the ability to travel through time and space. So that's basically unlimited power to go anywhere and anytime that you ever want to experience. And you can stay there as long as you want and come back to your own time a second after you left. So you could take a 3-year vacation, on a tropical island paradise, planet for as long as you want. Make sure you're going there during a time when there's no wars or catastrophes or anything like that. Stay there for a year and come back 1 second after you left, and that's your vacation. I think that's awesome. You live hundreds of years. When you die, you regenerate.
Can
And
you start the timer? Okay, good.
and you look like a different person. So if you don't like the way you look, the next time you die and regenerate, you'll look different. And I think that's a pretty cool power to have. And yeah, that's
Okay.
pretty much it.
Levi?
I chose Darth Vader,
Okay.
being that from a galaxy far, far away makes him an alien. I think, as you guys may throw some
No.
objections to.
It's
maybe?
acceptable.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, as Darth Vader, you get to use the Force, and you're very good at it. You're very powerful. There's many things you can do. And as Darth Vader, you can make your own choices. So if you want to go evil, go to the dark side, hey, more power to you. If you don't want to, you can dial that back. You can mend some fences. But yeah, that's my choice. Is Darth Vader.
Good deal. John?
Okay, my choice, like Nikki's choice, is not a specific character, but more of a race.
Mhm.
And I'm picking any one of the Na'vi from James Cameron's Avatar, because you are a beautiful, healthy, blue, nature. You're in tune with nature, alien who lives on the most beautiful planet in the world. Way better. Your life prospects, other than the little skirmish that happened in that movie, there's a whole planet Pandora.
Well,
And I don't want to get into the fight yet, but I think the Na'vi are amazing, and they're beautiful and healthy, and they're your life prospects for enjoyment in life. Your quality of life is much higher than either of these two choices.
All right, fight.
well, technically, saying the most beautiful planet in the world is relative, depending on what world you're in. So, I mean,
In the universe?
the universe.
What are you talking about?
You said.
The most beautiful planet
All
in
right,
the
all
world.
right,
Okay,
semantics.
anyway,
The
Well,
most
okay.
beautiful planet in the universe.
keeping on the Na'vi for now. They have their own problems. In the movie, she said that the clans had to come together, being that there was a time that they did not get along.
Okay.
But also, when we look at the events that took place in Avatar, they couldn't defend themselves against the aliens invading.
They won.
The only reason they won is because, I mean, if you can't get one of the aliens to fall in love with your chief's hot daughter, you guys are gonna die. You're gonna lose your tree and you're gonna die. And they still lost their tree.
But they won.
But that was a beautiful tree they lost.
Yeah. But who knows how many of those trees there are? This is just the first of 1,000 James Cameron Avatar movies.
Okay.
I
Coming
think
out in the next 1,000 years.
he's already planned Avatar 2 through, I think, 37.
Probably.
Also, as a Time Lord, I could travel to the Avatar planet
Okay.
and take a vacation there if I wanted
But can you
to.
psychically link with your partner?
As Darth
Yes.
Vader, I probably could.
No, because the TARDIS,
Or-
the TARDIS translates every single language on any planet that you're in.
Okay.
So I can communicate with anyone, anywhere I want to go. But I don't think I would want to go to the Avatar or the
Can you ride a dragon?
Pandora planet because there are a lot of predators there. When what's his face first got there in the beginning of Avatar,
Pandora
he
will
pretty
chew
much
you up
almost
and
died.
spit you out.
Because
Well, because
there
he
are
was
predators
he basically
everywhere.
had Down syndrome. He didn't even know how to use his body. The Na'vi are fine. They are fine. They are completely in tune with nature. They are not, like, to them, those monsters that would kill a human, it's like a mosquito. It's just like, just do that.
But she still had to fight off those cougar things that were going to eat him.
Because
She
they
still
were
had
going to
fight
eat
them off.
him.
Right,
She was
Molly?
fine up in the trees. Okay, Na'vi, you got these glowing things that just surround your world with wonder. These little, what are those things? Those spirit
Those
things.
tree seeds.
those
Are they seeds?
those jellyfish things. There's a whole underwater world of Pandora. It's completely beautiful. Now, the thing with a Time Lord, okay, you have 2 hearts, so you are twice as likely to have a heart attack. I want to fact check on that. And
also,
you're
are
a Time
you-
Lord, so you're British, so your teeth are a mess your whole life.
Well, that was going to be my question. Are you going in the Doctor Who universe? Because he's the last Time Lord. So
No,
technically-
I knew you were going to bring that up.
Ooh.
And technically, in the 50th anniversary special, they're all still alive. They're just like kind of hiding somewhere, and
Okay.
still not exactly clear what's happening. But the Doctor will figure it out, and he'll save
So you're
them
either
at some point.
if you're not Doctor Who, you're in hiding, and you're who knows where you are. You're just staying in one place.
Yeah, but
Or
I
you
could have
are a-
already lived hundreds of years before that happened, and then I'm in stasis for a while, and then the Doctor saves me, and then I can go on
So you're
living my
basically in
life.
purgatory.
No,
Yeah.
they're not
Because
in
your life is
purgatory.
full of
Well,
violence
speaking
and
of-
strife.
No, the Doctor's life is full of violence and strife. If I was a Time Lord, I wouldn't go around looking for trouble.
Well, there's an
like the
awful lot
Doctor
of there's
does.
an awful lot of enemies of the Time Lords. The Daleks want to exterminate the Time Lords,
Ooh, yeah.
and the Time Lords tried to exterminate the Daleks. I don't know if that's something I want to get into.
The entire
That's a
rebellion
pretty
wants
bad-
to exterminate Darth Vader.
Okay,
Everybody
well,
hates Darth Vader.
But as
He's
Darth Vader,
evil.
I can make the choice to
He-
mend that fence if I
But
want
if
to.
you are Darth Vader,
Yeah.
then you're Darth Vader. You're evil.
Hey,
You are Darth Vader.
How can
you can come back.
Why
though.
can't you? Why did
he-
you not choose to be a Jedi? Why did you choose to
Well,
be Darth Vader?
because
If
it's-
you wanted to be good, you should have chosen to be a Jedi.
Because there are some days. Let's think about this. Let's think about this realistically.
Okay.
Maybe you're having a tough day at work, right? You know, whatever.
You just want to
stressful.
strangle your boss.
Well, maybe, but really, who doesn't want to go
So
down?
you're Chad Vader?
Who doesn't want to go?
The
You're
one
right.
king of the floor of his computer.
You're what was the Kylo Ren skit on SNL where he's
Chad.
or whatever? He's Gary.
But who doesn't? Who wouldn't like to, after a long day of work, want to go mow down some rebel scum? Just pick a blockade runner and have at it.
That's not fun.
But hey, if you're Darth Vader, it is. It's a lot of fun.
And you're
But-
criticizing the Time Lords for being too violent and warlike?
Yeah.
A little bit, yeah. Like
No.
see, Darth Vader. I never heard him wanting to exterminate an entire race. That's harsh. Like the
He
rebellion.
killed an entire planet. He
No,
blew
he
up an
didn't do
entire
it.
planet.
He didn't do
with
it.
the
That
Death
was
Star.
Tarkin. That was Tarkin.
Okay.
That's not
But
Darth Vader.
I have-
He was behind that.
No, let Levi.
It's the Emperor. Like, and speaking of living for a long
so
time.
you want to be a pawn of an evil emperor?
Well, it depends. He has an awful lot of power. I mean, people still look up to him and need him for answers. He doesn't always need the Emperor. And besides, my son's going to come along. We can overthrow the Emperor. I'm more powerful.
And then you
than
die immediately.
But then, speaking of living for a long time, my good pal Chancey Palps, he promised me that he
C-Palps?
could C-Palps.
C-Palps,
He promised me that there are the secrets of being able to live forever in the dark side of the Force. Is
did
that
he deliver?
possible?
Did he deliver
After
on
your
that
wife
promise?
died. After your wife
Padme,
died.
that's another thing. As Darth Vader, I would get in there.
And your children, to
I'd
your
be right
knowledge.
at the beginning. I'd be right at the beginning.
So you
and
want
I
to
would
live with
keep-
the internal turmoil, knowing that
Of
your
having
wife
murdered
is
your
dead because of you.
You see, as
Directly
that,
because of you.
when I become that alien, I'm going to become Darth Vader right at the inception of Darth Vader, and I can either make that choice when
So
even-
is little Anakin Skywalker in
no, not
Tatooine?
as
Oh,
Anakin.
when you
as,
get
as
Darth Vader.
Okay, so
And
if,
so
if
then
you
I'm gonna
choose not
say-
to say no,
right, I wouldn't say
okay,
that.
then I agree with you.
Right, well, because then what I'm going to do is, I'm not going to choke Padme. I'm going to say, hey, Obi-Wan, listen, I'm doing this because I think this is the best way to do this.
But he
And
couldn't.
Well,
You
and
can't
that-
be Darth Vader without having lost your vision, without having lost your way. He could not
He was
have gone
already
all the
evil
way
by
to the
the
dark
time.
side
I'm
and become
strong.
Darth Vader.
But I'm stronger than Anakin, so I'm not going to make
Oh,
that choice.
okay.
So, and I'm not going to kill I'm not going to choke Padme and potentially kill her because that'd be stupid. It's Natalie Portman. You guys know how much I love Natalie Portman. So I'm not going to do
That's
that.
the real reason
that's
you want to be
ridiculous.
Darth Vader.
Partly, but that's a great plus. Am I right? Am I right?
That's a good
great-
point. That's a good
having,
plus.
Having Padme and two beautiful future Jedi / Sith children, it'd be great.
Carrie Fisher and
Now against I already said all that against the Time Lords.
Doctor
Oh,
Who. I mean,
but
the
also-
doctors had plenty of
Yeah.
but if you're
beautiful,
Doctor
intelligent
Who.
companions.
Yeah, but you're kind
over
of
the
stringing
years.
them along,
Wow.
don't you think? You're stringing the companions.
Yeah,
they always
not
seem
River
to
Song.
be in love.
Yeah.
They always seem to be in love with the Doctor.
Yeah,
and it's like
not
it's kinda
always
cruel.
though. Not always though.
Usually.
Okay, I want
Um,
to say something about Doctor Who. real quick.
Okay.
Okay, Doctor Who is like being an Alzheimer's patient because every couple years, whenever the studio thinks they need to find new fans, they'll recast you and then you'll get regenerated or whatever. I don't know.
We're assuming that this is in the real world, not in the studio world.
No,
No, we're
well,
talking-
you regenerate though, and then you have no prior memories of your previous
Mm.
self.
No, he always remembers what.
Not
happens
at
in his
first
previous
though.
self.
Who
It
knows
takes
how
him-
long that
It takes
takes?
him a
Who
minute
knows
to
how
like.
old you're going to get
minute?
too? You're going to regenerate. You know
A
what, you
minute?
might,
It takes him an episode. There's
if-
always that like post regeneration episode
So are you
where he
the
has to
Doctor
figure
or are you
himself
a Time
out.
Lord?
I'm a Time Lord. That's what I'm assuming that what happens to the Doctor is what happens to all Time Lords.
Your
That
life is
if they die,
full.
they regenerate, and then it takes them like a couple days to like figure out everything out and figure out their new body and their
Okay.
new they might like fish sticks and pudding instead of whatever they liked
Okay.
before. But
Well, not to mention,
I
Time Lords, they're direct enemies with the Weeping Angels. Weeping Angels want to get their hands on Time
Yeah.
Lords.
Yeah.
That's scary. If you're on that beach relaxing, you can't really lay back and go to sleep
Yeah.
because it's like, what if a Weeping Angel comes and just like, boom, they get a lot of power then. That's a terrible, I mean, I don't know how he sleeps at night. I don't think he'd be able to relax at all. I don't think
Yeah.
so. I don't think he'd be able to relax.
So I think a Time Lord would live a very lonely,
Stressful.
life. Very lonely and very stressful life. Your quality of life, even though you can live forever, because you have stress in your life, only increases or decreases the quality of life that you have. Darth Vader, you are the afterbirth of the Emperor's plan. He wants to get rid of you as soon as possible. You are a pawn. You're not even a knight or a rook. You're a pawn in his huge scheme of things. And as soon as he sees a chance to get rid of you with Luke, he tries it. Your whole life, you're basically... Okay, where do you sleep? What's your level of comfort in life? You sleep in a tube
Dome tube
in a
thing.
tube filled with like Jawa blood or something, like in a and then you go inside like an Iron Maiden every day. Your Darth Vader costume or whatever. It'd be so painful and horrible and living
only
with
have-
guilt
No, he
and
has no real
depression.
wings
He has no enjoyment of life, none. And you're only a puppet. You're a puppet, even though you have powers. I don't want to be a puppet that can fly because you're still a puppet. It doesn't
Yeah,
matter.
a Time Lord can pretty much do most of the things that Darth Vader can do.
Can't use the Force. Never
Yeah, but they have a sonic screwdriver. You can do a lot of that.
Ooh.
Except with
But
wood.
I have a lightsaber.
Except with wood.
But
But they are also autonomous, and like I said, if I was a Time Lord, I wouldn't be like the Doctor, like going around looking for trouble. I would be a peaceful Time Lord that would just want to like interact with people
I don't
and
know if
meet
you have that choice,
meet
though.
different people. And why don't I have?
I think
that
trouble's
choice?
gonna find you. It's gonna find you.
It
and
will.
As a duty with those powers, you're gonna have to.
there's
do
a
that.
lot of evil, a lot of different. I mean, in Pandora, as far as we know so far, the only evil is
Humanity attacking them.
basically humanity.
But people
But-
want to get that unobtainium. There's gonna
Yeah,
be other
unobtainium.
people
But
that
the
come
thing
along.
is that it's so poorly written that no one even knows what it is.
It's unobtainium. It's really hard to obtain.
It's unobtainable. So let's name it unobtainium. A Navi's quality of life is better than both of these. That's why I would rather be a Navi.
But-
You're healthy. You can live in paradise instead of living inside of a metal plasticsteel shell, being someone else's pawn, or a Time Lord, which would be super lonely. You live forever. Oh, and
Why
like
can't I travel around with other Time Lords that live just as long as I do?
because they don't do that. As far
well,
as
the Doctor doesn't do that.
As far as
Doesn't
the
mean I
information
wouldn't.
we have available, you can't just get married to another Time Lord and live your life forever.
Why not?
They don't do that.
Don't do
They
that.
don't reproduce.
They're scientists. They're explorers. They don't reproduce with other Time Lords. It doesn't exist.
Well, where do they come from then?
Who knows? I didn't write the show. I'm not British.
Well, with the Navi, yeah, you're on a nice planet, but you're on that planet. You're kind of stuck there.
It's beautiful.
As
I don't
Darth
need
Vader,
to go
I
anywhere.
can go wherever I want. I just don't like sand.
So can I?
And I can go anywhere. I can go anywhere, and I will.
And
You
you're
know,
not you're not gonna go somewhere where trouble's gonna find you as the main person.
I am
main
the trouble.
person in the
I can
Empire.
handle anything though, because I've got a whole legion if I want of stormtroopers. Now
You're
with
basically Hitler's crony, and we all know what happened to all of those guys.
well, in a way,
They
but
die.
here's the way the dark side works. You get a master. You learn all you can from him.
And then you try
eventually,
to kill your master.
you gotta overtake him. That's just how the dark side works. Now, that's the way Palpatine was. That's the way Darth Sidious was. So I gotta, I'm gonna do that. Now, as Darth Vader, I can make the choice. I could get on a phone call with Obi-Wan or Yoda, be like, hey, JK, let's just overtake this guy right now. And I bet it would work. We could do it, and then maybe that's how balance is restored to the universe. Maybe that's what the Jedi prophecy said. So, that's the thing. Bottom line is, I can use the Force. That's awesome. I can do whatever I want. I can go through. I have all these choices open to me. Whereas I feel like with a Na'vi, you're stuck on that planet. If you don't want to live the Pandora lifestyle, too bad. That's where you're at. That's what you got to do.
It's
You can't
beautiful.
just go off and start your own a different business or anything like that. It's
Yeah,
all
it's a
Who could do
business.
that?
Who wants a business? There's no
Go off,
money.
make your own business selling loincloths.
Yeah, there's no money. You can be completely naked
Or
all
feather
day.
things that
every
barely
day,
cover your
and you gotta
boobs.
Barely covered.
but
It's beautiful.
But you know
I
what?
would love it.
You know what? You gotta wipe with a leaf still. You're on Pandora. You gotta wipe
No,
with the Pandora
no,
leaf.
They don't
actually, they don't poop because they're completely 100% efficient in their life, in their metabolism.
Let's fact check
Fact
that.
Get Jimmy Cameron on the phone.
Called Jimmy.
Where's Cameron
Good
to
old
see? I was gonna say JK.
Their quality of life is so much higher. They're beautiful. They're healthy. Why would you go anywhere else? Pandora is the perfect planet to live on.
Okay, I think I've heard enough. That was a good argument. This one, I think the first one got our rust off because that was really oiled up the hinges because I had no idea how this was gonna go. But I think this one went a lot better. Okay, closing arguments. Nikki first.
Oh, already flipped my page.
No, we're done.
Closing argument. Yeah, I pretty much said everything I need to say. I think that, the Time Lords as a species have enemies and have problems, but as an individual Time Lord, I don't have to personally make all the same enemies that, like, the Doctor does, for example. Like, people come after the Doctor because he kind of goes looking for trouble in a lot of ways, I mean, he's trying to help people, obviously, but he also goes looking for trouble. And I think that a Time Lord basically has all the same powers of Darth Vader without the inner turmoil of killing your wife and being evil and being a pawn of the Emperor. And the Na'vi, yeah, it would be awesome to be a Na'vi, but as a Time Lord, I could go to that Na'vi planet and experience that, and I could also go other places. I could go wherever I want.
Okay, Levi?
Well, as Darth Vader, I have endless resources. I can use the Force, and, my power is still growing. I think if this is what I want, if the dark side was on, it's a pretty great life. It's, you got a lot of potential in front of you.
You blew it.
That was an M&M. Go on.
I lose that when I drop that.
Now, life as the Na'vi, I feel like it's just a lot of running in trees, and yeah, maybe flying a dragon's pretty cool, but I mean, you look at how dangerous life is. Your dragon that you pick, he's going to try and kill you. What if you can't catch him? What if he kills you? That's your young 15 years of life has ended right there, and you don't know how long the Na'vi live because we just don't know.
That's
We haven't watched Avatars 5, 6, 7, 8 where that's all explained. But so I don't know how great life would be. I didn't see any beaches on Pandora.
But you don't like sand,
Yeah,
so...
there was.
Well, if I'm a Na'vi, as Darth Vader, yeah, of course. I mean, that might be. Maybe I should go there and take over. Be pretty great. As a Time Lord, yeah, maybe you don't have the same enemies as the Doctor, but you still got a lot of enemies. I mean, the Daleks, they're pretty bad. They're pretty bad people, things, and
Bad people things.
there's just a lot of things that as a being like that or a race like that, people want to get you. So I don't know if that's really a thing that if I was a Time Lord, I'd want to be part of. Now, if I was Darth Vader, I can handle any of that. So I feel like as Darth Vader, I can handle any of that. I will handle any of that, and I can use the Force. So,
Johnny?
Okay. Darth Vader lives a very fascist lifestyle. It's all about taking. And your life is in pain, and you have no arms or legs. And yeah, you can move things with your mind, but you have no friends, and you can't eat food. Time Lords, yeah, they're cool. You have a lot of options available to you, but you live a very lonely life. And from what we know, you're living in a smelly box your whole life, too.
It has very good ventilation.
Those are some of the episodes I've seen. And pretty much every time he opens the door, it's a big plume of smoke.
So that's all I have to say about that. Yeah, you have options, but, so does, yeah.
All right.
But a Na'vi, you're living in paradise, you're healthy, you're happy, you're living a very communal lifestyle with your family, your friends. Sure, they have problems. Everyone has problems, but it's beautiful.
but you're always blue.
What if you don't like the color blue, John?
Well, man, you're dumb.
Blues. Okay, so what I got out of this, all three of you chose people who live very dangerous lives because the Na'vi could get eaten by an animal at any moment.
Mine's the least dangerous.
The Time Lords, you could fly into a black hole and
If you
get
know how to
sucked
control
into.
your target.
Well,
Yes,
what
they
about
don't, though.
what about the episode where he? Oh, I can't argue for these guys.
Yeah,
I can't do it. Shoot, man.
Don't bring in more information.
Okay.
It's based on the
Based on
arguments.
our
Yeah, yeah.
arguments, yeah.
Right, crap. Okay, but I'm gonna say it at the end because it's a good one. Levi, you're a war general. You're going to be fighting a war. You're going to be on war all the time. And I like how you said, at the inception of Darth Vader, when he basically kills Windu and becomes Darth Vader, you could make different choices from that point on. You'd still only have one mechanical arm instead of 4 mechanical limbs.
Or I'd have the high ground.
You could have had the high ground.
Oh, boy.
I don't know. That one was interesting. John saying that all Time Lords are British, you're going to have bad teeth. That was
Just because they don't get braces a lot of time doesn't mean that they can't.
I'm not
know.
sure if that's
No,
racist or
actually,
not.
I want to fact check. It is illegal to get braces in Britain.
Also,
Levi brought up
I've
a
never
good
had
point.
braces and my teeth are okay.
Levi brought up a good point that the Na'vi had a lot of clan wars. They were the factions were fighting like Native American. Nikki had a cool point with the fact that Time Lords are very technologically advanced. I like John's idea of them being in tune with nature. And I think I'm gonna go to Bethany here real quick, but I think I've made my decision. But go ahead, Bethany. What did you come up with? What do you have for us?
I kind of think I like John's better.
Okay.
I like the in tune with nature, like with all the different creatures and things like that they were able to tame and have this bond with and connect with and use them for traveling around and different things like that. And like you said, the planet that they live on is just beyond what anyone could have ever dreamed up, except for James Cameron, you know. And so I think I agree with John on this one.
I think I'm leaning towards John as well, and it boils down to quality of life. As a Time Lord, in order to take advantage of what Time Lords can do, you have to travel in a TARDIS. Traveling in space is dangerous, regardless of how you do it. You're going to run into multiple alien species that are going to be out to get you. Think about it, all the movies where aliens come to Earth, it's shoot first, ask questions later. You are an alien going to another planet. Yeah, you look like a human, but it would be cool to go back in time, but there's diseases and stuff back time. You could go to Pandora, but who knows if you can breathe the air. It's different things like that. Levi, you're a war general. You're going into battle all the time. Jedis aren't invincible. Darth Vader is a really good Jedi, but he's not invincible. Whereas John, if you stay within the confines of your village and you enjoy the life in what the Na'vi have survived however long doing, they have a very good quality of life. I liked what he said about quality of life. I'm going to have to give it to John on this one. The quality of life was the one that won it for me. But what about the episode? Now that I made my point.
What episode were you thinking?
The episode, you also didn't bring up anything about the TARDIS being infinite space. That hurt you. You
Why?
didn't, because
I think it was a small, smelly little box.
And you could have said, I could go nowhere and be in my TARDIS forever and never run out of rooms in my TARDIS to look at. What about the episode where he goes and then something happens where the TARDIS is shrinking and he's just an eyeball out the door of the TARDIS?
Oh, that was so good.
That was a good one. I mean, how would you know that was going to happen?
Because it's the two-dimensional creatures that were
right, but it was.
Him, right?
But that's the point.
Episode?
You go to a planet and there's those two-dimensional creatures, and you're screwed now.
All right. I get it.
All right.
So, that was a good one. That one was my favorite one so far. Well, we only had two, but that was a really good one.
I'd rather live life outside the box, especially if it's a sandbox.
I'm gonna give my point to Levi. Give my point to Levi.
that I could go anywhere if I just don't like sand was one of the funniest things I've heard in a long time. Okay, so this is gonna be one of the most interesting questions, I think.
One's a doozy.
I like this one because it's gonna be really cool to see where you guys all go with this.
Yes, it is.
So,
I can't wait to hear John's pitch. He's been bragging about it all week.
I think these are all really, really good from what I've heard. Okay, so the question is, Back to the Future, one of the best trilogies of all time, arguably one of the best trilogies of all time.
Oh, yeah.
All of us agree we would never want it redone. No, there's no way. You can't do it any better than it was done.
Sacrilegious.
It's an abomination. But if you did redo it, who would you have play the modern version of Marty and Doc, and who would you have direct it? And I'm going to throw in another thing. What would it be? Would it be a remake, as in set in the 80s? Would it be a, modern take, as in, Doc and Marty are living in 2017 and going to in the future of this? How would you do it? So we're starting with Levi. Okay. Go ahead, Levi.
So, this movie should not be remade. But, if it were to be remade, this is the reason. nothing is sacred in Hollywood, and the writers in Hollywood are not original anymore. So they don't have the ability to come up with something new, so they're going to redo this. Now, the thinking behind the studio in this would be, right now, things like Stranger Things are taking off with 80s nostalgia. So they're going to make this movie totally 80s nostalgic. And this is exactly what they're going to hit on and make tons of money on. So, the cast for this movie would be Rick Moranis as Doc, and would be Joseph Gordon-Levitt as Marty. And it would be directed by the Russo brothers.
Okay. Go ahead, John. I think, right? Yep. Yeah.
Sure. I have a whole pitch. I think I'm just gonna start with
Yeah, pitch it.
my picks, or do you want me to pitch it?
Start with your picks. And then
Start with your
I would
picks?
say. Yeah.
I'll start with my picks because my pitch is a little detailed. But I'm picking.
It's like a 10-page script. So.
It's a screenplay.
It could have been. But it's a very difficult thing to do this and to kind of recapture that magic. So I think, as first of all, you need a director who has that Spielbergian spark. Someone who has a spark of creativity, who has a well-established reputation of developing original properties, who can bring something new to the table. I don't want completely nostalgic, so that's why for a director I'm going with someone like Brad Bird, who has written and directed some of the best movies ever made. For my doc, I'm going with one of the most established actors of all time and most lovable, Bill Murray. And for my Marty, I'm going with because I said different, I want Haley Steinfeld, who is fantastic and cool and fresh and new and would be fantastic as a new Marty.
Very good. All right, Nikki.
Okay. For my Marty, I chose Donald Glover because he is hilarious, he's charming, he has a kind of sweet nerdiness to him, but he's still cool. Like he toes that line of being nerdy and cool at the same time, which I think is really hard to do. And I think that's kind of what Michael J. Fox does. Is like Michael J. Fox was super cool, but he wasn't like too cool. You know, he wasn't like the coolest guy. He was just like naturally cool, and I think that's what Donald Glover is. For Doc, I would want Steve Carell, because I think that he is very versatile and hilarious, and he's just a really funny guy, and he's a really amazing actor because he's done those like more serious roles, but he could do those he also can do those like loud, funny, hilarious roles. And then for my director, I want Taika Waititi, who has when you talk about original material, original movies, I feel like he's kind of the best of both worlds because he's done those original things and he's also done the franchises because he is the director of the new Thor movie, which hasn't come out yet, but the first teaser trailer is very promising. It looks hilarious. And he also directed, as we found out this morning, the Team Thor videos that they put out like in between, during Civil War. Like what was Thor doing during Civil War? Did you see those? Oh my god,
they're really
so
funny.
They're
so
great.
funny. But he also, this director, Taika Waititi, he's from New Zealand, which is like the best country to be from. He's hilarious. He's, I know that for sure. The best country. He's friends with Flight of the Conchords, so he's got that kind of like self-aware, like awkward, like humor. He's got that heart. He directed Hunt for the Wilder People last year, which was definitely my top 2 movies from last year. It was awesome. And also Hunt for the Wilder People, it showed that he could do that like companionship between an old crotchety guy and a younger kid, and the friendship between them, and you feel like the love between them without it being like weird or creepy or anything like that, and them going on adventures together, and the heart and the love. And when you're talking about 80s nostalgia, he did a movie called Boy a few years ago, which was set in the 80s, and it was all about his love for like Michael Jackson. And so if you're gonna go that route, he's done that too. So
what are you
I could
pitching?
go on and on and on and on.
What are you
about Taika
pitching?
Waititi, but
Are you pitching a remake or a modern?
Kind of like what they're kind of doing with the soft reboots now.
Soft
so
reboot.
I would have like a cameo with Michael J. Fox and Christopher Lloyd as Doc and Marty, but it would be jumping off with the new cast. So
you're saying like a continuation?
Yeah.
See, that was the other option that I've forgot to mention.
Like all
A
that happened in
continuation.
1985, and now,
And
it's 2017.
it's 2017.
and- yes. But
and-
I don't know if we're doing our pitches yet. I'll let.
Okay.
Wait,
Okay,
who's
we're
turn?
fighting. We're
Oh, we're
fighting.
fighting now.
We're
Okay.
fighting
Okay.
now. And I just go for it.
Well,
pitches.
I need
give
to
me
give
pitches.
my pitch.
Yeah, give
Okay.
it-
Or else I'm going to throw up.
He's.
Holy
Okay.
moly.
I have a pitch. I'm going to read this. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Whatever. I'm
That's
sorry.
okay. I
Don't
want to hear it.
apologize.
I want to hear it.
Because I really think this is a good idea, and I think this is what they should do. So try and keep up with me. I'm going to read this pretty fast.
Keep up with the changes
Yeah.
and try
Yeah,
to keep
try
up. Watch out for the
Watch
changes
out for
and
the-
try to
Try
keep
to
up.
keep
It's a
I
blues
think-
riff. It's a blues riff and B.
I think Chase should get a point for this. Okay. It's a black screen. Black. You're in the theater. Okay. You're eating your popcorn. Black screen. Amblin Entertainment comes on. Spielberg Twinkle. You hear that Alan Silvestri. Then Back to the Future Twinkle. Clocks ticking slowly creeps into the soundtrack. More and more until it becomes an ocean of clock noises filling every speaker in the theater until you see a hand. Boom! Quickly slamming an alarm clock, pressing the snooze button, silencing everything. The camera is slowly panning across a sloppy girl's room. Dirty clothes, concert tickets, band posters, crappy drawings of the Heavies, a girl rock band. Her band photo cropped on the dresser. A girl's head comes into frame, hair covering her face. She's wiping her eyes, and you can see the magic marker X signaling an under 21 age concert goer wiping her eyes clear.
British.
Marty. Quick cuts of her getting ready. It's audition day for the school talent show. She's running late. She grabs a Pop-Tart and she heads toward the door. A woman asks her in a kind voice, "Marty?" She ignores her. "Marty, aren't you forgetting something?" She turns around and she sees the woman pointing to a guitar in the corner in a soft case with band stickers all over it. She picks up the guitar and heads toward the door. "Thanks, Margaret," and leaves. Margaret turns and looks at her husband sitting across the table reading the news on an iPad. "Give her time," he says. Hill Valley, 2017. In a hurry to school, she falls off her skateboard. She drops her guitar into the street. "No!" Marty screams as it's run over by a huge antique American car. It slams on its brakes. Out of it comes none other than the town quack scientist, Doc Brown, played by Bill Murray. "My guitar!" There's a cracked neck. He feels terrible, but he still blames her. Conversation ensues. "Come with me, I'll give you a ride to school. And you can borrow one of my guitars." There's clocks everywhere inside of his house. She's looking through his living room as he grabs the guitar. She sees his family pictures on the wall, newspaper clippings from a long time ago. He gives her a cheesy, headless, red guitar. "You can borrow this till I fix your old one." "What, you fix guitars too?" "I can fix anything," he says. "Oh, I love it. It's so retro." "Yeah, I guess," about the guitar. Throughout the movie, these two characters slowly start becoming a surrogate family as they come to know each other. She reminisces about the family that she never had, and he reminisces about the family that he lost. She starts realizing that he has many secrets and a dark past, which is what Bill Murray does the best. And she starts realizing many of his inventions are way beyond modern technology. Why don't you sell these or patent them? Honestly, I had a bad experience with one of my old business partners, Dr. Vebe. I had to stay pretty low-key. He'd like nothing better than to steal my ideas. Dr. Vebe. After after constant bullying and a fight at school, she is super depressed because she's going to be transferred to a juvenile detention center and taken away from her foster parents to a center. Her band has to break up. Her life is spiraling out of control. She goes to Doc's for comfort. He feels responsible. "It's all my fault. Just this once," he tells himself. "What if I were to tell you, Marty, that time isn't a fixed thing?" He runs over to a chalkboard, flips it over with a dusty curtain. He starts drawing all kinds of equations and lines and doodles. "Meet me tomorrow at the Twin Pines Mall parking lot. I'll explain everything." She's like, "What is that?" He's like, "Oh, well, there used to be a mall there. It's just a big parking lot right on Main Street." Okay. Twin Pines Mall parking lot, midnight, wet cement. She shows up on her skateboard. A semi is parked there. The semi opens up. Out of the wall of steam rolls a DeLorean coming out of the semi. Doc emerges in a white suit with his dog, Hawking. Is that supposed to be a car? It's called a DeLorean. It used to be cool, I guess. Much progresses like the original movie. Time travel explanations. The flux capacitor, 88 miles per hour. She doesn't believe him. So he sends Hawking into the time machine and he returns into the future just in a couple of minutes. Marty, he says, it's all my fault. What do you mean it's your fault? I made a promise a long time ago never to do this again, but you're worth it, Marty. All of a sudden, an explosion of electric energy erupts in front of them. Oh no, Doc says. It can't be. A man emerges from a dissipating pillar of flames and steam. A man wearing a white protective suit with a small, broken, dodgy flux capacitor on his chest. He pulls the helmet off. It's John C. Reilly.
Roll credits.
John C. Reilly, I found you. I don't know how, but I found you. He says, dang it. The time signature, Doc says. Is that Dr. Veeby? Marty asks. Dr. Veeby? Dr. Veeby asks, puzzled. Dr. V.B., Doc says. What's she talking about, Jules? Asks Dr. Veeby. Doc replies to Marty, Veeby, as in Vern Brown, my brother. Marty looks confused. Get in the car, Marty. Now. I'll find you. I wouldn't do that if I were you. Go, Marty, now! Vern twists a dial on his chest compartment and a beam of electricity leaps out, engulfing Jules in the white light. Marty screams and jumps into the DeLorean, speeding away. The spot where Jules was standing erupts into light and fizzles out, leaving 2 footprints on the concrete as Vern runs after the car. The DeLorean disappears as Vern takes readings on his chest and wrist meters. The DeLorean explodes into the same parking lot of the Twin Pines Mall. Now, there's a mall there. Marty panics. She drives off the main road and hides in an abandoned spot behind a junkyard. She sleeps there the night. She wakes up. She goes into town. All the cars look older, but they're not that old. Hill Valley is different, but it's not that different. She finds a newspaper. They're still printing newspapers. She reads it. It's October 1985. In a panic, she walks into the street and is passed by a truck pulling a kid on a skateboard behind it. The two collide. She's in a fog. She's on the ground. It's blurred vision. A hand reaches down to her slowly. It comes into focus. Are you okay? Asks a boy's voice. A boy wearing jeans and a Walkman and an orange vest.
Dorothy's gonna drown.
It's a race against time as Jules and Vern Brown struggle to gain control of the time machine. Meanwhile, in 1985, young Marty, played by Tom Holland, Spider-Man from Civil War, has got the hots for this cool new girl he just hit with his skateboard, his daughter. Can Jules right all these wrongs? Get Marty back together with Jennifer. Stop Vern from destroying the universe and help girl Marty find her parents who are lost in time before it's too late.
Oh my god!
Oh boy.
Fight. Fight.
That's awesome.
It's the only way to do it.
Did anybody else get that? It's Doc Brown's kids. Like,
It took me a minute. I'm like, why are there 2 of them? Oh,
Wait.
that's right. Jules
It's
and Vern.
Jules and
Remember?
Vern from the train.
Remember on the train, at the
it's
end
his
because
kids.
he marries.
So it's
the
everyone's
what's-her-face.
kids. It's a sequel, it's a prequel, it's a remake, it's everything for everybody.
Wow.
Because
Okay.
it's like the same. It's like kind
Careful,
of this,
John.
Well,
You're knocking over the
you
toys.
knocked me over. Anyway, so it's like the same plot as the original one, but like the next generation forward. So instead of Marty going to his parents, this girl Marty goes to. So Marty McFly's her dad.
Yeah, that's why
But they're
she's an
dead.
orphan.
Oh,
Her parents
she's
were
orphan,
lost in
but they're
time.
dead. Oh, they're lost in time.
I have more because
All right.
I do.
All right.
I do.
You've had your
All
time.
right,
You've had your time.
Later.
All right, I'm kind of going a different route. I'm not gonna fight that for now because I have to let it sink in. I'm thinking more of Donald. I'm thinking more of just mixing it up. That like Donald Glover is the scientist, and that Steve Carell is like the guy that doesn't know what's going on. Because Donald Glover played the scientist in The Martian. And
Yeah.
I thought he was like a really good computer
Okay.
guy,
that's cool.
So in my pitch, at the end of Back to Future 3, the DeLorean gets crushed by that train, and like all pieces go everywhere. Oh, the time machine is destroyed. Well, there's still like pieces of it everywhere in 1985. So some people found those pieces and have been trying to reassemble the flux capacitor over the past, 30 years or however long it's been going on. In the meantime, Donald Glover is a young science student, and he's like an intern at this company that is trying to discover time travel. And somehow, and then Steve Carell is just like the janitor there at the institute.
Okay.
But they strike up a friendship. They find out they have a lot in common. They're friends. And Steve Carell
He goes all good
has
while
some
hunting.
yeah, kind of. Only opposite, because anyway. So Steve Carell like knows Marty. And he has some insight into, because Marty McFly from the original movies hasn't like spilled anything about time travel his whole life. He's kept it secret, but I don't have all the details like John, but somehow Steve Carell knows something about the fact that Marty knows something about time travel. And so he kind of like tells that to Donald. He hasn't told it to anyone else, but since him and Donald Glover are friends, he tells that to him. So Marty kind of has like a small role, like kind of a cameo, and I think it would be really funny to have Donald Glover like go and try to like kind of like interview Marty and try to get some information out of him. And Marty's wearing one of those weird like double ties that was in Back to the Future too. And he's like, and he asks like the people that work with him like, why is he dressing like that? And like whenever we ask him that, he always says, "It's the future, guys." That's it. Well, in the meantime, but Marty starts getting suspicious because he's like, "Oh, I think they're getting close." Donald Glover starts making some breakthroughs. He ends up inventing a time machine, and he and Steve Carell, once again, I don't have all the details, but they somehow get embroiled in some kind of time disaster where they get stuck in an era, which I think it would be cool for them to get stuck in the 80s. And the original Doc and Marty also have to try to like kind of figure out how to stop them from messing up the timeline in the meantime. So the original Doc and Marty are kind of in the background trying to fix things, but the main story is about Donald Glover and Steve Carell having hijinks.
So kind of a
through
little
time.
bit more like Back to the Future 2, where there's a story going on in the background of a story.
Yeah, I guess.
A
Yeah.
little bit, okay.
Yeah.
Well, here's my only question with John. So is this now? Would this be nullifying the 2015 in Back to the Future 2? Like, would Marty also have a brother, a dork brother, involved with gangs, or? And also,
yeah.
also
Well, that multiple 2015 was a skewed version. That was before that was like a messed up version.
Yeah, because
Well,
the
it's
paper
well,
got erased.
they created
The paper
it,
got erased, right? So his
Right.
future became different from that point forward.
Okay.
It was skewed.
I'm defending your
All right. Well, yeah. The only thing because they hadn't skewed it at that point, so we don't have reason to think that future would have changed. Only that
No, it would,
the
because he didn't get into the
1985 would-
accident.
But it wouldn't change that as much because.
It would, because that's the whole point of the second two movies.
Right.
He
Well, and then
changed
here's
his
the other
future
thing. If her name is-
because he became like a loser and they got married
Right.
in the Chapel of Love, and now he's not a loser anymore because he didn't get in that accident.
Well, her name is actually Martha, and
Martha-
they disappeared
what-
when she was a very little girl. She's Marty Jr.
Okay.
She's
Is it
their
Martha
daughter.
or Margaret? I thought you said Margaret.
Either one. Whichever one you like more.
Margaret was the foster mom.
Oh yeah,
Right.
Margaret.
Foster
Margaret was
mom.
the foster mom.
Oh, what
Margaret.
happened to
maybe
Jennifer?
you shouldn't have
Both
Gone.
Marty and Jennifer disappeared, and I have a reason for that if you want to know.
Okay.
No, we don't. Not right now.
Spoiler alert.
Anyway, okay,
So
so
I think mine is the only one that.
well, here's my other question: Why does Jules already have a structure? He already has a building and everything. How long has he been in 2017?
A long time, because they've been traveling through time their entire childhood. So he's actually a little bit older than you would think he should be too.
Okay.
Him and his brother Vern.
Okay. Well, here's why I think Rick Moranis would be a good Doc. Now, a lot of people think that Rick Moranis has disappeared. He really hasn't. He's been in small roles, a lot of voice acting roles. But Rick Moranis is really the ultimate scientist, crazy scientist. We all loved him in Honey, I Blew Up the Kid, Honey, I Shrunk Ourselves, Honey, Shrunk the Kids. You know, he's a great mad scientist that is kind of clunky, and really that's what you need. Especially if we're going to redo Back to the Future like this, you need a clunky Doc Brown that's going to accidentally, leave the time circuits on to 1955 when he sends Joseph Gordon-Levitt back. Now, Joseph Gordon-Levitt would make a good Marty because you kind of need someone in this day and age. You need someone with a little bit of swagger, And that's what I feel like Joseph Gordon-Levitt has. He can play a dorky guy, but he can also have a little bit of coolness to him that's just kind of untouchably cool.
No,
That's
he's
what
not
I'm saying.
untouchably cool. He's kind of a hipster. Like, he's a little too, like, kind of skinny hipstery. Like, I do not, like, he is not Marty. I like Joseph Gordon-Levitt. He's fine, but he's not, like, Marty
I
material.
like Joseph
Like,
Gordon-Levitt, but he's not as sincere in any way.
Yeah, he's more
insincere.
smarmy. Yeah.
He's kind of smarmy.
Yeah.
But I
And-
feel like if a studio is going to remake this movie, he's the kind of person they're going to cast anyways.
He's way too old.
I feel like they're going to cast him. Now Rick Moranis, I didn't know this. Christopher Lloyd was 47 when they made.
Hey, look,
Back
we
to
just
the
looked
Future.
at
Yeah, he looked a lot older.
Yeah,
didn't
I
he?
think
Like,
even when he was Doc Brown in the 50s, he still had old man makeup on. I think.
it's crazy. So, but Rick Moranis actually, I think he's like 62 right now. I think I looked up. So I think he's about the right age to be kind of an old crazy Doc Brown. But yeah, this movie would be really going for 80s nostalgic. So Rick Moranis would be 80s nostalgia in himself, in that casting. And I think for the director, the Russo brothers, you need someone who's going to be able to handle a huge property like this. Like they do that with the Marvel movies now. They're getting handed the realms to the entire Marvel universe, the most important Marvel movies. They're taking that on. And I feel like their comedy style, coming from like Community, they're going to really have a really good, funny take on this. They're going to be able to really spin this in a funny way. Now, on a side note, my George McFly in 1955 would be Benedict Cumberbatch.
Nice.
He'd be a good, tall, dorky George McFly.
Is he British?
No, of course
No,
not.
he could do American.
Doctor Strange.
Okay.
He'd, but he sounds like House. Sounds like
He does.
in the
He does have a
commercials,
very
he sounds
Housey.
like House, but
It's impossible for a
um,
British person to speak with an American accent.
but yeah, no, it's not
Entirely
impossible.
right.
Not bad.
Not
bad.
Lorraine Baines would be Margot Robbie, because in this day and age, if a guy's gonna be in a tree spying on her, she's got to be smoking hot. So, and then Biff would be played by Chris Evans, and he would actually be playing his role from Scott Pilgrim.
No.
Lucas Lee.
He's good.
And it'd be great. Be like, you really think you'd code me into a trick like that, drag race like that? Anyway, so
Cool.
it'd be really great, and I think it'd be a lot of fun. Now, Haley Steinfeld, I don't really know. She's kind of taken a pop star kind of turn with her music career, and I don't know if I'd
very
like
music.
that. I don't know if
Here's the thing. Haley Steinfeld's very first role was in True Grit. She got nominated for an Academy Award. Her first role, I think. Her first major film, at least.
I think that
She's
makes her
got-
rated too high at this.
She's got the chops. You know, she can do it. And
Okay.
she's
I
cool,
feel like
and
she kind of-
she seems sincere.
I
She seems like a real girl. She's not like Chloe Grace Moretz, who's trying to be like Nicole Kidman already, and she's only like 20-something.
I don't know
Like
who that is.
Haley Steinfeld is
The little girl
cool,
from
and
Hugo.
she
and-
seems like a real girl.
But I feel like
Marty is a real person.
You look
He's
at
not
that-
Joseph Gordon-Levitt.
looking at that in this day and age, it's a young, attractive girl getting in a strange car with Bill Murray and going back to his crazy lair. I feel like it's a little. I don't think it happened. I don't
That's
think it
why
would
it's so
happen in
important for them
today's-
to develop a surrogate relationship. That's why it's firmly
Well, it's in the
established
first 2
before in the movie
seconds.
that she's lost family and he's lost family, and they become each other's family. He's like a father figure, and he's like the daughter figure that he never had. Or did he?
I feel like it's kind of a weird
I don't know
bad
if
message,
Brad
though.
Bird can like pull off necessarily that. See, okay, here's the thing about okay.
Let's talk about directors.
Tomorrowland.
Let's talk about directors.
Okay, here's the thing. Here's the thing about Brad Bird.
There's a lot of facets in,
Okay.
in this fight.
Yeah, there's a lot of facets in this fight.
Yeah.
The thing a thing about Back to the Future.
The movie?
Yes.
The thing, the movie?
No, the thing about Back to the Future. That movie is tight. It's the beginning is like setup after setup after setup. The ending is payoff after payoff after payoff, and by the end you're like, yes, like everything is awesome, like
think-
it's amazing.
You think Taika's tight?
Taika can set up and pay off though.
I don't
He
think
can.
has. He hasn't established. He hasn't proven that yet.
He has.
He's
I
very
think
cool.
so. I think in Hunt for the Will, like I think that Taika has already accomplished that, surrogate family vibe more than Brad Bird has.
No, that
I
was
think.
good. He did
But,
that really good in
okay,
Hunt for
I'm
the
just
Wilder
gonna
People.
I'm just gonna talk about Tomorrowland. That movie had setup after setup after setup,
Mm-hmm.
and no payoff after confusing after what the heck is going on.
Okay.
Bro,
It was a hot mess.
It was a mess.
Brad Bird, yeah, he has heart. He's like done some
He's
like
got heart
good
and
like.
soul. Huey Lewis in the News.
Did he go back in time?
No, but he's got heart and soul.
Does he have the power of love?
Yes. Yes, he does. And he does. And he does have the power of love because if you look at his properties, he's already done what your guys' directors have done, but better. He's already done family-oriented movies. Look at something like Iron Giant. Look at his he has roots in animation, but he can pull off live-action films too. Look at Iron Giant, one of the most beloved movies of all time. More beloved than either of directors have made from either of your movies. Beloved. I don't mean box office. Beloved. People like want to get tattoos of this stuff. Iron Giant. The Incredibles, which he wrote himself. He created the characters. Is a better superhero movie than the Russo brothers, who made Winter Soldier and Civil War, which they did not write, at least the characters. If they had invented those characters, maybe Russo brothers could get another score on that mark, but they don't. They're playing with other people's characters in other people's worlds.
That's what I
Brad
was
Bird
gonna
is
say about
creating
the
his own worlds.
That's what I was gonna say about the Russo brothers. Is like they're good at like they
Mimicry.
do very well the things that other people do, but they don't necessarily have like their own style.
They don't have their own style or
And
voice.
Taika-
They're good at mimicking because look at what they did
Taika
in
has
Community.
a voice.
They can mimic other styles, which is why they're so good at Community.
Which is why they're going to be so good with this because this is an unoriginal remake. This is
But
a
nobody
cash
wants
grab at best, and that's exactly what they're going to do, and they're going to do it really, really well.
But
And
people don't want that. There will be fires in the streets pushing over police cars if they make a straight scene-for-scene remake of this movie.
But
No one will go see it.
Here's the other thing:
It'll be like Ghostbusters.
If Brad Bird is successful with this, what all of his good success movies, he's never going to come out with a sequel because people have been begging for an incredible sequel for years.
He's working
And
on it right now.
He's working on it now, but it's taken him this long. People don't want to wait 10 years in between Back to the Futures. Haley Steinfeld's going to be 30 by the time the next Back to the Future
No.
comes out.
I think
And-
Michael J. Fox was probably 30 by the time the last like.
Well, Michael J. Fox was 24 in 1985 when the first movie came out. So in 89 and 1990, respectively, Back to the Future
was
2 and 3,
29.
he was 29.
Yeah.
But still, it's not. There wasn't 10 years in between sequels.
No, there wasn't.
And I feel like
But
with
that's
Brad
Writing for
Bird, that's
30
going to happen.
minutes. Sorry.
With Brad Bird, that's going to happen.
I'm gonna cut you guys off here soon, so keep going.
Okay,
I
one more
think-
point. We've already seen. Okay, we're talking about directors.
Yeah.
I'll leave Wayne's and
Okay.
Whiskey alone. We've already seen Rick Moranis
I-
do the professor, and it would just be confusing.
It is hard. Like you both have things that it's hard for me to argue against. Like I can't argue against Rick Moranis because he's amazing, and I can't argue against Haley Steinfeld because I think
Haley
I think that she is a very good I think that she's a very good young actress. But
Awesome.
but I think that Joseph Gordon-Levitt is awful. I do not even know why you even try to pick him.
And he's way too old. He's way too old. He's already 30. What, he's going to be 40 playing a 17-year-old in for the third movie or something? Like,
Yeah.
what?
So I think, so I just think that, like, all of my picks between Donald Glover's Marty, like I said, he has that, like, he has the coolness, like, the effortless coolness, along with the nerdiness, like, he blends them together seamlessly. He's hilarious. Bill Murray, I love Bill Murray.
Mm-hmm.
He is low energy.
That's why
Bill
he'd be
Murray
good.
is like the chillest of the chill. Doc Brown is like 8 miles per hour. Like, how could you have Doc Brown be like Bill Murray?
That's what I'm talking about.
Flat-faced, like
He's not
serious.
Emmett Brown. He's Jules Brown, and he has a past that is dark, but he's still a cool scientist. There's depth there. There's depth. He's not just a cartoon.
But how would a guy
Emmett
like
Brown.
that? Why would a girl that age be okay going back to a guy like that to his house?
Because everybody
get a
loves
guitar?
Bill Murray. Even Moby loves Bill Murray. He's the most lovable, innocent. He's like a big kid. And first of all, I completely forgot about this. There's one scene in my movie where Haley Steinfeld goes up to like, what is this? He's like, don't touch that. Don't touch that. She's like, why? What's it going to do? He's like, well, it's not going to do anything to us, but, you're messing with the space-time continuum. It might mess up different versions of us in different dimensions. You wouldn't want a version of you in a different dimension having to relive his life over and over and over again, would you? Groundhog Day reference, Bill Murray.
Oh, boom!
I was gonna say what would be funny is if she switches it anyways, and that's why George McFly falls off the tree limb.
Yeah, nice.
Mine is the only movie that can cover every base, be successful, please every audience, and the Russo brothers made You, Me, and Dupree, and that was garbage.
Oh, they did? I
Okay.
didn't even know that.
I don't even know. Is there a point to do the final arguments?
No, we've
No,
talked about this too
no,
long. Just
no.
make a
Yeah,
decision.
yeah. Okay. So what I've
Brad
got,
Bird
I'm
made
just making
Tomorrowland,
sure.
and that was garbage.
I'm just making sure I understand this
All of
right.
Taika's movies are-
Levi's making a reboot, a remake.
a line for line remake.
Levi's making a remake with Joseph Gordon-Levitt and Rick Moranis, made by the Russo brothers, who are admittedly good at mimicking other people's styles. John's pitching a continuation /
Remake.
adaptation.
Kind of a sequel.
With-
I call it a sequel.
I would
Yeah,
call
I'd
it
say
more
it's
of
a
a
sequel.
sequel.
It's a sequel
I think it would
and
be
a
a sequel.
reboot and a remake because it's
It's everything.
It's more like
It's everything.
John's pitching the Force Awakens of
Yeah.
of
Yeah,
Yes.
actually,
John's
you are.
pitching the
You
Force
are.
Awakens
Yes, I am.
of Back to the Future
Yes.
with Haley Steinfeld and Bill Murray. Nikki's pitching a continuation with a different storyline of
Basically a soft reboot where the old cast is in it, but they're kind of passing the torch to this new
okay.
cast.
So you're doing pitching a better like episode 1, 2, and 3.
It's not a prequel though.
But no, like you know how it's Back to the Future was for our past generation. This is the Back to the Future for the modern
For our
generation.
Yeah, okay,
you know
you
what
can
I
say
mean?
that. Yeah.
So like okay, or more like maybe more like the new Star Treks are. The passing of the torch, a generational thing with Spock.
Yeah.
Spock
I guess you could say
giving
that. Yeah.
giving the torch
In a
to
way.
the new Spock.
In a way.
Kirk. Okay.
Yeah.
I agree with them. I don't think Joseph Gordon-Levitt would pitch in the way Levi's throwing it because I just don't think he's the right choice for that in comparison to Rick Moranis, which was a fantastic choice as a reboot doc, which was a good choice. I think Donald Glover and Steve Carell and the way you pitched it with them kind of being backwards was a good idea. And John, your pitch was, I mean, you have it written, you essentially wrote a movie, which is really, really good. You brought out a good point about her first role, Haley Steinfeld being nominated for an Academy Award. Iron Giant and Incredibles would be good. I think the pitch you gave, those movies wouldn't really necessarily be conducive to that. Because those are very light movies, and those are like a little bit more like happy kids movies, and this, from the way you're pitching it, sounds a little more dark, a little more creepy, a little more dark. And they did both bring out really good points that this is just creepy, a girl, and it just doesn't. I don't think it would work.
I don't believe that.
I don't think it would
Yeah,
work.
but she's married to him, so.
I agree with Levi. I don't think that would
I think
work.
that if Taika was directing your movie, that they could pull it off without being creepy.
I agree with Nikki in that Donald Glover would. Yeah, I'm gonna have to just go with my gut. John, yours was a really good movie. Levi, I think yours would make a lot of money, but Nikki, I think yours would be the best. I think I'm gonna go with Nikki on this one because I think the idea of them reversing roles and being that idea that Donald Glover is the scientist and Steve Carell is the guy. I think they could both pull that off really well, and I feel like Watiki Takibo could pull it off really well. So I'm gonna give it to Nikki.
Wow.
Okay.
I'm gonna give it to Nikki on that one.
Give it 2 points already.
Yeah.
Yay.
That was a long argument.
That was a long
Okay,
one.
it was
Okay.
34 minutes long, but oh my god, John.
That was fantastic.
That movie.
Your pitch was so vague. I don't even know what movie
I know.
that is.
Looking back on it, like she
That was
talked,
the
we
vaguest
talked about her
pitch.
the least, like, and she won, like, but still.
Like, I don't even know what is going on in your movie. Like, who's... Okay, so... No, this is...
Goodwill Hunting with Back to the Future.
Okay.
I really have
Do
to
they
pee
travel
before
through
we
time?
get to... Yeah.
Okay, you didn't even
Yeah,
say
Donald...
that.
I did.
Yeah.
I said Donald Glover and Donald
you said
Glover
they go-
ends up finding that missing... Like, the final missing piece
Yeah.
that the Institute
Okay.
doesn't have.
Is it like a corporate? Is it like the corporations going after them kind of thing? Because I think that would be a really cool twist. Like, is Donald Glover working
The
for this?
corporate... No. The
question.
corporation is trying to
All right, you
invent
guys, let's
time
take a
travel.
little break
We'll take a
here.
little
We'll
potty
talk
break.
about it after the fight.
We'll take a potty break.
Yeah.
Donald Glover... No. Donald Glover's
Are they
working...
gay? Because they thought my people were weird.
All right.
I thought you should have won that, John, but...
Yeah.
We have to take a little bit of a potty lighting break.
What?
This is really long.
It is.
Yeah, it's gonna be long.
That one fight
It's-
was 34 minutes.
Yeah.
No, the timer's right there.
We have my first file was 19 minutes. My last file was an hour and 2 minutes.
And we're only done 3 fights.
Oh, well.
See, you can see how the time slips away.
This is
from
why
that.
Andy is such a stickler.
Yeah,
about,
you gotta
about how
you gotta
fast
stay
you're
with the
going.
time. We gotta.
Yeah.
All right,
move
we gotta
this along.
That's true.
do the last 2 fights like quick. Like,
Okay.
That's true.
Like we need
All
to
right.
set a time limit, for, like 10 minutes for
Yeah,
each
let's
fight.
do
Part
it.
of that was definitely my fault.
Let's do it. All right, so we have right now 2 points for Nikki, 1 point for John, no points for Levi. We're moving on to the next question. John, you're going first, I believe, right?
I don't know.
Yeah, I think we're back to
Yeah.
John. Best non-human companion in a movie. John, take it away.
Okay, non-human companion, I think of, when you think of best companion, companions are someone who provides you with emotional support. And there has not been a better non-human companion who has provided that support than Wilson from Castaway, the volleyball. Tom Hanks.
Okay. Non-human companion. When I think of an awesome companion, I think of someone who is loyal, who sticks by your side, who is there to protect you, to stand up for you, who loves you and who you love, and who has a great personality. And the only answer for that is Chewbacca from all of the Star Wars. Well, not all, not the prequels, but Chewbacca from Star Wars.
Revenge of the Sith, he was saying.
Who is it?
And he is Han's companion, and he fills that role admirably.
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 It's a trap. Well, I think of a lot of those things also when I think of a companion. I think of someone who's going to build you up, who's going to support you, but who you take care of and who you nurture. And when I think of that, I think of Wonder Boy from The Natural. That's Roy Hobbs' baseball bat that he made from the wood of a tree that was hit by lightning. And oddly enough, it was the same tree that Roy Hobbs' father died under. So Wonder Boy signifies not only the most important event in Roy Hobbs' life to date, but also symbolizes the journey that he then goes on after that. Now, Wonder Boy is with Roy through thick and thin. When Roy is a young baseball star and he gets shot, Wonder Boy is still with him even years later when he makes a comeback to play baseball. Now, Wonder Boy, I think, is a good one because it was Roy's, what he believed to be his secret sauce. It was what empowered him to be better. But really what Wonder Boy showed him is that really it was Roy that was the secret sauce. It wasn't the bat. And that's really what a good companion does, is he makes it so that he empowers you and helps you learn a lesson and become a better person.
Okay.
Okay.
Fight.
So a good companion is teaching you the lesson that they are not important.
Well, in the end, yeah, to make you a better person, to show that you don't need to lean on them for everything, that you are
That
a
you don't
strong
need them
person
at
on
all.
your own. Not necessarily. He needed a bat, and Wonder Boy was the right bat for him. It was the right bat to propel his career because he needed that. He needed that shot in the arm at the time because he didn't have that confidence.
That's nice for winning a baseball game, but that's not nice for surviving all by yourself on an island for years. A companion is someone who sticks by you, someone who listens to you and your problems. And both of your companions are in a world flooded with other companions. Yes, they're good companions to that individual. However, I know Han Solo's a smuggler and whatever, but there are other people around. Tom Hanks has nobody. He has this volleyball, which is born out of blood, like a baby, from a bloody handprint on his hand. There's an elemental thing going on with Wilson. This ball, who is always there for him.
So in
Yeah,
your mind,
but-
you like the silent type, the one that you have to talk to, but they don't ever have to talk to you.
Well, what's your bat?
A
Well,
good
but
friend
the bat does
listens.
talk. The bat talks in
Talks?
action. He
It
talks.
talks?
He talks
I've
in
never seen
action.
this
In action?
He talks in action, and that when he breaks, he shows that he does. Roy doesn't
Okay.
need him to be good.
Okay, this is a very important part. You're talking about him breaking. That part where the bat breaks. Yeah. Okay. Let's talk about the loss.
Let's talk about the part
Let's
where
talk-
Wilson floats away.
That's what I'm
He
talking
didn't even
about.
try to
Let's
swim
talk about.
back.
Let's
Wilson
talk about
didn't try to swim back at all.
because he can't. Let's talk about.
Yeah,
the
let's
loss.
talk about the fact that both of yours are inanimate objects, and mine is a creature with a heart and a personality.
More
and
power to
love.
our picks because
and-
they're more or less human than your pick. What happens when you lose that companion? In neither of these movies is there an emotional moment like mine with the music from Alan Silvestri. The first, maybe first or second part in the entire movie. You're watching this movie for an hour and 30 minutes, and that moment when he loses Wilson, the music kicks in. Your heart swells. He's crying. He's like probably nominated, won an Oscar. I don't know. I didn't check. That moment is so
Fact check.
powerful because he lost his companion. Neither of your movies has that moment in them.
How
Neither.
about when Chewie loses his companion when Han dies, and he immediately shoots Kylo Ren? The reason that Kylo Ren...
Spoiler alert!
Oh, sorry, guys. The reason that Kylo Ren has a wound the rest of the movie when he's fighting Rey is because of Chewbacca.
Yeah, he missed.
He missed. I don't think it hurt him that much because he kept punching his own wound.
He
and
was
second of
far
all,
away.
5 minutes ago, he was
was
shooting
like-
stormtroopers with that same gun and was blowing them to smithereens, and now he's like, "But you."
I don't really think
Is
this
that
has to
your
do
friend?
with Chewbacca's gun. Let's
No,
move on.
I
It
think
does,
this has
though.
to do with like a plot detail that the director and producer of the movie couldn't have
Yeah, yeah.
Kylo Ren just die.
Well, they wanted Chewie
But
to be mad, but not that mad.
He was
because they need to
very
make-
mad. He was very mad. And then remember they put up all those charges, and then
Mm-hmm.
Chewie just immediately like boom just starts setting off all the charges. Like that's it, man. Like he is like mad as heck. He
True.
is upset.
But I would hope
And then,
my
like,
closest
afterwards-
companion would console my mate after death, and
Okay,
Chewie
that
never
is
even
my-
hugs Leia
Right past.
ever.
biggest problem with Force
And it's a
Awakens.
huge
Like
fault.
I was okay with everything in Force Awakens,
But it's still a character of
except-
Chewbacca.
Yes,
It's Chewbacca's
it's a
character.
Okay.
huge fault
But-
on him as being a companion who fails to even acknowledge
No, that is
Leia.
That is like
No.
false to that is false to Chewbacca. That is like the biggest problem with Force
It
Awakens.
still happened. It's in the movie.
Okay.
It's not in the movie.
Also, when like this, I just can go on and on. Chewbacca's awesome. He's just awesome. He's like
cute.
He's not cute. He's hilarious. He is funny without you understanding a single word that he's saying. And the only reason you know what he's saying is because Han understands him. So it's like this symbiotic relationship between Chewie and Han. Like, yeah, Chewie has other people in his life. He has like friends like Lando that double cross him and betray him and steal stuff from him. He has a wife like Leia apparently was, and then they like split up and got divorced. Who is the person that has been with Han his entire life, as far as we know, from when he was young, by his side, standing by him, defending him? When Han gets frozen in carbonite,
Letting him get frozen in carbonite,
Okay,
letting him get
Chewie
stuck in a
is- okay,
garbage compactor,
listen,
letting him get
listen.
stabbed and killed by his own son. That's not a companion, that's a buddy.
Because Han needed that time. He needed to go talk to his son. That was like Han's moment to talk to his son. But Chewie was standing there watching the whole thing happen. And then as soon
Watching him letting it happen.
because he was talking to his son. He needed that moment to talk to his son. But Chewie was there and he was watching the whole thing happen. And when he couldn't stop it from happening, he took immediate retaliatory action. That's exactly what he did. He was handcuffed, okay? He was handcuffed when Han was frozen in carbonite. He was a prisoner. The second Lando undoes his, you'd think
Yeah, he
like
chokes him.
any person would be like, oh, hey, he's uncuffing me. Maybe he's on my side now. No, Chewie's like, bah! And just immediately starts choking
Both of
Lando.
these are,
like,
are
yes!
Okay, let's talk about
Yeah, Levi, come on.
the companions of you guys. Not only so you pick the companions, the people who are the fellow companion to that. Han Solo treats Chewbacca horribly.
Yes, he
he
does.
He
doesn't.
does when they're on Hoth.
Never listens
Chewie is
to
trying
him.
to fix that hunk of bolts, and Han is like, "What are you doing? I'm trying to get us out of here. Stop trying to fix the ship. You're taking stuff apart. Just get it. Just duct tape it. We gotta go. I gotta go pay off my
This
debts."
thing's over here. This thing's over there.
It's a
He's like, "I
stressful
gotta go pay off
situation.
my debts for myself. Don't worry about flying this thing, and it might be
That's why
unsafe for you
Chewie's
to
so
fly."
loyal.
Well, but that's not a good thing. That's not a good way to be, because a true friend needs to be able to point out when someone's wrong, when someone's being a jerk. That's what a real companion.
Does yours do that?
What's Roy?
A baseball bat?
Yeah, because when Roy has that he's gonna lose the game. Roy thinks that Wonder Boy is his superpower, and that he can't do it without him. And when he breaks, he's like, "Oh no!" And then the kid comes back with the bat, and he realizes, you know what? Bam! He knocks it into the lights, crashes. The Knights win the game. They win the championship. That's what Wonder Boy is good for. He
didn't
shows
win.
Roy that Roy is good. He doesn't need, even though he's old, even though he's been shot, he's got a bullet that's piercing into his stomach. He doesn't need a baseball bat to be a great baseball player. He
I've never
is.
seen this movie either.
Well, in
Most-
the beginning, he gets shot.
Okay.
And they don't. Anyway.
Most of the power of that movie comes from the fantastic score by Randy Newman, of all people. And I think all the power and mythology that is derived from the power of that bat and the lightning strike that created that bat is from the score, not from the bat itself.
But as
Well,
a character
you just said
development-
that the only reason that the Wilson floating away was emotional was because the score
No,
swelled.
it helps. It helps.
We gotta keep moving. We spent way too long on that Marty McFly pitch.
All right,
but-
all right.
So, any facts to check?
Just for the Castaway, Tom Hanks was nominated for several awards, major ones. The only one he won was a Golden Globes award. It was best motion picture drama, best actor.
Okay.
And then there were some other ones that are like lesser known. He won a People's Choice Award or something like that. But
Okay.
That doesn't count.
What did you think? Bethany? What did you think?
I don't know. This is a really tough one because we do have the factors that we got two that are non-living companions and one living companion. I don't know because it does kind of seem like with the two non-living ones, it's more of the person that had that as their companion. All of
Right.
the support that they gave actually came from within themselves
Yeah.
versus from their companion. But with Chewbacca, he actually was physically able to give companionship.
Right.
And I don't know, it's really, really tough decision.
I agree. I think, Nikki, you had the most attacks on you, and you defended yourself really good. But the 2 points that John and Levi both brought out, with the not comforting Leia and Chewie being more human than theirs, kind of
They had
made
harder
theirs
picks to begin with.
harder to defend, but made their defenses more plausible. Levi talking about Han really not treating Chewie that well, being like a two-way street. Companionship is a two-way street. I'm saying, Nikki, this isn't yours.
All right.
Now it goes down to who was a better companion, Wilson or Wonder Boy. Now I've never seen The Natural, and I have seen Castaway. Castaway was that scene that you brought out where he's like floating away was really, really powerful. You never thought you could feel that way about a ball. And that interesting
A bat
that
and a
he's
ball. Comes down to a bat
Wow.
and a ball.
Yeah.
And then-
that there he really had nobody. He had nobody there. But hearing the story of Levi's, where talking about a companion being there, because companionship isn't all about what you get out of it. What you get out of it, it's what you give and what you take. Like, so I think that idea of that building up and him taking care of that bat, and that idea that it's from a tree that his dad died under, that extra connection, that deeper root in their relationship. And at the end, making him realize that he didn't need it. Whereas once Wilson was gone, Tom Hanks basically
Sat there.
was prepared to die.
That makes him a bigger miss.
No, I know. It does make it sadder when he was gone,
Yeah.
but that's not the question. The question is who's a better companion, and the companion that helped him
The one that
grow
you
as a
miss more
person.
when they're gone.
We hope we don't lose any companions. I think I'm going to give it to Levi on that one. I thought this one was going to be really easy. Like, I was going to be like, oh, it's Wilson for sure. But Levi sold me on the Wonder Boy.
You
Because
like the Wilsons?
I like the Wilson one. I like the Wilson one.
Well, I was going to say also because Roy, he carries the bat around in a trombone case. And everyone's like, well, that's weird. But it's like he keeps that thing pristine and he polishes it after every game. But I didn't get to that.
Okay.
Go Levi.
No, that was good. That was good. All right. So, we're on to the last question. And it has to do... It's going to decide who moves on to the speed round at this point. Maybe. Possibly. Scariest kids movie. There are some pretty weird kids movies out there. And we're going to try to figure out which one's a movie designed for children that just turned out to be really, really creepy. Nikki, you're first. Take it away.
All right. Imagine you're a small child in the 80s/90s who loves cartoons, who loves animals, whose main experience with talking mice movies is Cinderella, where the mice sing, and they help her, and they sew, and they're delightful.
What about
Rescuers.
Rescues Down Under?
Oh yeah, Rescuers Down Under. Yeah, they live in this beautiful little
Five
like
Goes West.
sparkly. Yeah, Five Goes West. Yeah.
Don't know.
But well, let me get to that.
That would have been a good
Which
pick.
came out after the movie, my movie pick. Anyway, so you pick up this. Imagine this is a VHS. You pick up this VHS. Oh, it's a really cute little mouse, and she's got cute little kids. The Secret of Nim. Oh, there's some secrets. There's like a crow with string wrapped around him. This sounds delightful. You pop it in. Okay, it's The Secret of Nim is my pick, by the way. And it's immediately terrifying from beginning to end. Like, it starts off with these creepy, like, gnarled, like, hands with boils on them with long fingernails writing this, like, magical ink coming off of this paper with this creepy, like, blah, 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 voice, like, Jonathan Brisby died and blah, blah, blah. The main character is this mouse. Yeah, she's cute. She's a widow. Her husband just died. Her husband got eaten by a cat, which has, like, a cataract eye, okay? It has, like, one yellow eye and one eye that's, like, white with cataracts. And he's evil, okay? That's how her husband died. Her little baby...
Cataract.
Yeah. Her little baby is sick and about to die and can't, like, get out of bed, and no one is helping her. And she's going to, like, all these people, and they're like, I don't have time for you. I don't care about your son. So they say, well, why don't you go to the owl? Owls, by the way, eat mice. So she goes to the owl, is walking through the owl's thing. There's sticky spider web. Okay, so this is Don Bluth's first independent cartoon, okay? So he split off from Disney in the early 80s and made The Secret of Nim. And this pretty much set the precedent for what Don Bluth movies were like. They're dark and sticky and muffled, and, like, there's, like, the scene in the owl cave is, like, definitive for me. It's like there's like bones everywhere, and there's like a skeleton with glowing red eyes in there, and then she sees the owl. The owl has glowing yellow eyes. Its head is all the way turned around, and then it turns around like this, and she's like voiced by a creepy old like actor too.
Okay.
All
We
right.
gotta keep moving.
All right. Anyway,
All right.
Secret of Nim.
Moving on to Levi. What did you choose, Levi, and why?
Well, imagine this: a nice little movie set in the early 1910s. It's about an inventor who's trying to make his name for himself. But when he has some time, he decides to tell a nice story to his kids. That story involves pirates, a little scary, getting chased and spied on and hunted by said pirates. But then when you go seek refuge for a town, you find out that the town is controlled by the Baron, and that in this town you are not allowed to have children. And to enforce said law, there's a guy dressed as a clown who comes around that is called the Child Catcher. So my pick for the scariest kids movie is Chitty Chitty Bang Bang.
Gonna be straight up honest, I don't think I've ever seen Chitty Chitty Bang Bang.
We used to watch it at their house.
Never seen it.
You've
Not that
seen
I
it.
remember.
You probably just don't remember.
All I
Yeah, that was
No.
at
that
grandma's
was
house.
Grandma's
That was like
kind of makes me want to see it now. Looking that there's a clown. That's you got major points for that one. Okay, John.
Okay, you want to talk about clowns? Point set match with clowns. Pee-wee's Big Adventure is my
My bike.
Pee-wee's Big Adventure is a scarier, more terrifying, more disturbing, mentally, psychologically, visually, sonically, full round, more terrifying experience for children than either of these movies.
All right, fight it out.
No, because for the most part, I'd say 85%, okay, of Pee-wee's Big Adventure is lighthearted, goofy, like kind of fun, you know, like he gets into like scrapes and whatever, and like he like lost his bike, and you know, like him and Mickey, like you know, there's
Did you like losing things when you were a kid?
no.
Especially your favorite thing
Did you
ever?
like losing your husband and maybe your small
I
child?
did when I was
that's
a
ill?
kid. I did, and that's why Secret of NIMH is not scary, because kids don't give a crap about Secret of NIMH. They've not seen it. Let's talk about kids right now.
They
It's an
did.
old mucky movie. It just like looks dirty. Yeah, it's very.
But it's scary,
It's very
and it's designed
displeasing
for
to
kids.
the eye.
Also, both of yours are live action.
Mm-hmm.
Mine's a cartoon.
That's why ours
I-
are scarier.
Yeah,
No,
but
no,
ours,
no.
mine was still made for kids.
No. I think that it makes when a cartoon
These
is
are all
scary. When
kids'
you're
movies.
a kid,
These
okay,
are
when
all
you're a
kids'
kid,
movies, yeah.
cartoons are like your realm. You know, you feel safe within a cartoon. And when a cartoon is that disturbing and creepy and scary, it's like a betrayal. Like you don't know what to think when you're a little kid watching The Secret of NIMH and like how scary it is.
I think to a certain extent, kids expect and enjoy being scared. They really do. A little bit. But they don't want things to turn on them in the way that Pee-wee's Big Adventure turns on them. It's like a little kid. There's nothing more scary as a little kid than going up to your parent at an amusement park or something, holding onto their hand, and you're walking, and you look up, and that's not your parent. That is scary. It's the twist. Kids, as the second this movie starts, it's gross and it looks gross and it's stupid.
Yeah,
and they
and-
haven't seen it. So
And from the beginning,
so
and
Pee-wee's
from the
Big Adventure is like, oh, this is gonna be fun. This is gonna be fun. You get right off the bat, Pee-wee. You get okay. You have kids want to feel safe with an adult. Pee-wee is kind of an adult. Kind of. They don't really know what to think about him.
He's an
You
adult
get
that
a-
acts like a kid.
He does, but you have a magic shop with weird stuff in there. You have a clown that's laughing audibly and moving. His face changed before your very eyes. You don't even know what's physically real in this world. Bernard Herrmann, Psycho, the music from Psycho. Children are not supposed to hear Bernard Herrmann, Danny Elfman channeling Bernard Herrmann in a kid's movie at all from Psycho. I don't think so. Fortune tellers, scary faces, clown nightmares, not one, but two clown nightmares featuring devils, clowns, people ripping their faces off. None of this is even touching the top of the water, the skim of the water here when you talk about large Mars. None of your movies have anything nearly as a physical, real person telling you a spooky story and turning to you and her face erupting in horror and it will ruin your life.
Okay.
None of these movies
But
ruin
even the large Marge scene though is undercut by the fact that Pee-wee screams and then laughs.
He doesn't laugh.
Yes, he does.
No,
He's
he
like,
does.
"Ah,
No, he doesn't.
Yeah, he does.
That's what he does.
Well, no, he doesn't.
yes,
Yeah,
he
he
does.
does.
Yes, he does. He goes, ah. That's what he does.
Let's talk about expectations in the movie. As a kid is watching the movie, yeah, this one starts off a little scary. Pee-wee's Big Adventure, it's just weird. Okay, even from a kid's standpoint, you're just weird. But I feel like with Chitty Chitty Bang Bang, you start out, it's a normal movie. Yeah, if your dad was an inventor, that'd be cool. Like, he can invent anything for you. But then it's like it gets weirder and gets weirder and weirder, so that you're caught in this corner that if a kid was going in to watch a scary movie, he's going to know what he's getting into. If a kid's going into likes Pee-wee's Big Adventure, he's kind of weird anyways.
He's not going to know what he's going to get later.
With Chitty Chitty Bang Bang, it's a matter of it now becomes a danger to you. You now feel like, what if this child catcher is real in real life?
Mm-hmm.
What if he's really here? I'm not allowed here. Now, also the child catcher, when he comes around, it's hello children. Well, come and get some free candy today. Ice cream. And he names all these treats, and the kids, they're going from playing. They were told, don't move, stay here. They're going from playing to, they hear this and they go outside and they see him. They're like, free treats! Oh boy! They can't resist him. It's so scary because then he gets them. They go up to his cart and it's all dressed in magical kid stuff. And all of a sudden he's like, come inside and get the ice cream. And then he shoves them and he locks them in and they're screaming and all the stuff falls off and it's just a cage. And he runs around and goes out and they're put in a dungeon. And to get out, they have to be disguised as life-sized dolls. Nothing is more scary than life-size porcelain dolls.
Large Marge is scary.
It is incredibly scary for a kid to watch this and be put into the situation and think that this could be a real possible thing. You
Okay,
are not
but
prepared.
listen,
Good
but the
point.
fact that it's real, like it could really happen, I think that that's actually a valuable lesson, a way to teach children not to take candy.
Stranger
from
danger.
Then teaching lessons. Then this is life. Going
This
to owls.
is teaching kids
Going
to
to
not,
owls for
to
help.
not be
Banks
a helpless
do not
mouse
want
to
to
get
help
eaten.
you. Banks are owls.
Bark break.
They agree with me.
We'll take a bark break.
I have a.
Okay. Fido.
No, Secret of NIMH teaches you. Oh! I almost forgot. Secret of NIMH has animal experimentation in it. A person is holding a rat with a giant syringe full of red liquid and sticks it into the rat's stomach and unloads it into the rat, and then the rat starts having this like hallucinogenic like 2001: A Space Odyssey experience after that.
But none of them are scarier than
Teaches kids
having a
not to do
dream.
drugs. Teaches kids not to do drugs.
Yeah, but none of that stuff is scarier than the nightmarish. Oh, I love dinosaurs. Scary dinosaurs. Eating my favorite object. Eating my bike. Clowns. Hospitals. I'm in a hospital bed. The music is terrifying. Here's another very important thing about Pee-wee and about Chitty Chitty Bang Bang.
All right,
Kid-
so this is final thoughts.
Okay, this is my final thought on Pee-wee. Okay, kids have actually seen Pee-wee, and they've seen Pee-wee's Big Adventure, and there's a new Pee-wee movie on Netflix, so they're like, oh, what's the first Pee-wee movie like? They're going to see it. No one's seeing that, and nobody is seeing Chitty Chitty Bang Bang, and especially they're not even going to get to the scary part because it's 2 hours and 45 minutes of absolute boring garbage before you even get to the scary guy. Kids aren't even going to get to the scary part. I tried watching it like 3 years ago. It is the worst, most boring movie. That's what killed musicals in like the late 60s, 70s. It's these garbage, overly long, boring movies. It's so boring. Kids don't. They have already checked out before the child catcher
Okay.
even comes there.
Nikki, final thought.
Okay, I mean, nobody's seen Secret of NIMH now, but honestly, like, everyone my age has seen it, I feel like. You guys have all seen Secret of NIMH, right? No?
I knew what it looked like, but I don't think I ever watched it.
You never watched it?
But I know you've talked about it before.
Okay, anyway, well, I feel like it was a popular movie in my day.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm overestimating that, but, I mean, it was the first movie that Don Bluth ever did, and he did many movies after that, so...
Okay,
I
so
mean,
why are the other ones not good?
Both of their movies have scary parts in them. Mine is scary from beginning to end. From the second, like, it starts up with the rat writing and
Yeah.
but he's the good guy. He has glowing yellow eyes and he's the good guy.
I remember
okay?
that. I do
Yeah.
remember that. Yep.
Yeah, and there's like a red amulet that has like magical powers that nobody understands, and then and there's a bad guy that murders Nicodemus. He cuts the ropes, and then the thing falls on top of Nicodemus, the glowing eye rat guy, and he murders him. Okay, so there's like a villain, and there's just natural predators that mice have. Like every single moment of this movie is like perilous. Oh, and then there's a plow that's about to like plow up the field where they live and destroy their home, like the cinder block that they live in. Like everything is against this poor mouse.
But
Like,
you know what you're getting.
Okay. Final thoughts, Levi.
oh, and then Levi's movie teaches children a valuable lesson about not taking candy from strangers.
Levi.
Well, I feel like if you want to go on the teaching valuable lesson, this movie sounds like life. She's a widow. Her kid's sick. She's got to go to bad people for help. There's a plow about to take over her home. That happens all the time. They put in highways all the time and shopping malls, and you know it's life. It's life. Pee-wee's Big Adventure. I feel like kids will know what they're getting into. I feel like they'll parents guiding them. They know. Chitty Chitty Bang Bang. It's an older movie. I forget what year it came out. I think it came out in the 30s. But
60s, I would say, but anyway.
68.
68. Okay, so in 68, it's so kids didn't have that many options, but you go into that, it's just a matter of even if kids shouldn't take candy from strangers, that's still a really scary way to put it. It's still going to scare kids a lot. And just the whole idea of kids being illegal and that they're going to be put under that type of oppression is just a scary idea for a kid. And that's really the bottom of this question is, what's the scariest kids movie? And I think that something like this is just going to scare a kid beyond belief. And I feel like it's just a matter of what's going to keep kids up at night. The idea of a child catcher, that suddenly the ice cream man down the street is the child catcher.
Okay. All
Wait,
right.
John didn't get his final thought.
Yeah, you
He
did.
did.
Oh, we did? Okay, never mind.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Okay. Bethany, anything to add? I don't think we really had a whole lot of fact checking in there. What did you think?
A lot of opinions.
Yeah, this is a very opinion question.
Well, yeah, because
You guys, I just
want
want to say, I'm terrified right now of all of your guys' movies. I haven't seen Chitty Chitty Bang Bang, and I'm not really sure I want to, because that sounds really scary, having a clown child catcher.
And born.
It's hard because I haven't seen The Secret of Nim. But I did see Chitty Chitty Bang Bang when I was a kid, and I do remember being very, very scared at the part with the child catcher. And it is hard because for most of the movie, there's, singing and it's fun, and there's, I don't know, there's so many different aspects to it, but then there are a few very scary parts for when you are a kid.
Mm-hmm.
So that's really the only one that I have memories of being scared of.
Okay. And that being said, I do have very fond memories of being afraid of Large Marge. Large Marge was scary. And you bring up a good point with the music and the devils and the clowns and the dreams and the bike surgery. Weird stuff. But at the same time, was Pee-wee's Big Adventure before or after Pee-wee's Playhouse?
That's a good question.
Before.
Before?
Before?
Yeah.
Oh,
Okay.
So you might not have known what you're getting into.
Right.
Yeah.
That being said, I'm looking at it from the concept of these movies all release in theaters. And parents take their children to go see a movie. Mm-hmm. And mom took me to go see Vertical Limit, and you're like, holy crap, what did I just bring my child to go see? Right? That's my thinking on this thing, that you're like, good Lord, I'm going to be praying about the B word for my child for the next 12 years of their life.
I think they did have to pray with you about Large Marge too, didn't they? Weren't you?
I'm not sure.
Oh, you didn't? Okay.
I think the B word covered a large
Okay.
number of sins. Couldn't even say baby.
I was thinking of picking Junior, but
That's not necessarily a kid's movie. Okay, so Nikki brings up a good point that both of your movies are live action, and a cartoon necessarily, and this was released before, Adult Swim, when cartoons were geared towards adults. Cartoons are geared towards children. So she brought up a good point with that. John, you brought up a good point that Levi's movie is 2 hours long and boring.
I think it's closer to 4.
Levi, I think you kind of
Check the time. Yeah, the running
Check
time
how
on
long
Chitty
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 Bang
Bang
Bang.
Bang.
I think it's
lost me with the fact that The Secret of Nim is like life. Yeah, those things happen, but that's not really something you put in a kid's movie. That's not teaching them a lesson. And Chitty Chitty Bang Bang does teach a lesson, but that's not really the point of the argument, but that does weigh in. I think it boils down to, between John and Nikki, I think Nikki brings up a good point with the fact that Secret of Nim is scary from start to finish. There are no lighthearted, fun things that this movie can walk away with, other than the fact that the animals are cutely drawn. John, you have a really good point with the twist, though. The fact that, you go in, you thinking, based on the poster, you're thinking, oh, this will be, whimsical and fun, and oh, he's got a motorcycle, and blah-de-blah-de-blah, and then there's demon clowns and a giant T-Rex. Oh, I don't know. Oh, this is tough. I think Nikki made better arguments. Because John had... You can't make that argument. Nah, I think Nikki won it with that one. With the idea that it's just cartoons are geared towards children. More than live action would be. I think Nikki won it.
Gives her what, 3 points?
That gives Nikki 3, and it's a
All
tie
right, we're gonna
between
need a
John.
tiebreaker
We're going to need a
between-
tiebreaker, so let me get my extra questions out.
By the way, Chitty Chitty Bang Bang is 2 hours, 24 minutes.
That is
4 hours.
dang
It's
long
just-
for a kids
It is
movie.
a
It feels like
really
4
long
hours
movie.
because
Another scary aspect.
You are 3 hours older than you were before.
at our like 1 hour and 20 minutes, they're still doing the Toot Sweet song.
That's honestly one of the only scenes I remember from
Oh,
Chitty Chitty
You're
Bang
not allowed
Bang.
to look at these.
Sweet.
I didn't see him.
You're not allowed to look at these.
Blah blah blah.
Blah blah blah
Da,
blah.
da, da, da. Yeah.
All right.
Now, are we doing this quick first person to give the answer and then argue a little, or what?
The way they do it on.
Yeah.
Like it's
This'll
just
be-
it's like a
just
speed
be
round
just like a
question.
speed round. So get
What's
ready
your-
for the
what's
get
your-
ready.
What's your timer at for resetting the camera?
The thing says 34 minutes on the.
Okay, this reshooting good. Just keep an eye on it.
Okay. I'm just gonna make this one up right now because there's another one like it in the speed round, but the other couple questions that are not in the speed round are just too complicated.
Oh, he gone.
What happened?
The end fell.
Oh, the end.
I'll just say them.
His head comes off. His neck.
Okay, so
He did.
best Emma.
BBC.
No, like actress.
Best actress named Emma.
You gotta say more specific than that. Okay.
Best
Emma
act-
Watson.
Okay.
Emma Stone.
Okay.
Oh man.
Duke it out. We're gonna need some. You're gonna need to time and ding the bell at 20 seconds.
20,
their-
20, 10, 10.
Okay, so Levi picked first. He picked Watson. He's picked Stone. All right, go for it, Levi. Whenever you start talking, your 20 seconds will start. And whenever you're ready.
Emma Watson has been in the spotlight since she was a little kid, and she's done really well in all of her roles, including anything from the Harry Potter movies. She was able to deliver those, show great potential as a young person, even into roles like Perks of Being a Wallflower, which is our friend Colin's favorite movie, so you got to give her points for that. But she's just been able to continue to deliver, and she's still young. She's still delivering these huge roles. Emma Stone, she's great, but she's only been given...
Nope, you're done.
Ding, ding, ding.
Oh.
Okay. Jono, whenever you start talking.
Oh, wait.
Well done.
She's got to restart the timer.
I'm gonna look at that timer.
Okay.
Emma Watson is a flash in the pan. She was a little kid who was in the Harry Potter movies. She did not add anything to those movies other than being the girl role that everyone read in the books. Emma Stone is a fully amazing adult actress, Academy Award nominated. She is a complete actress. Emma Watson is still trying to find her place in the world, and she's in like...
All right.
All right, 10 seconds.
All right. 10 seconds. Whenever you're ready.
Emma Stone's been given some great chances in big movies, and she's lucked out with that. Emma Watson's done really, really great in independent roles, which I think is more difficult than a big, big budget movie. She's been able to deliver really good roles all throughout.
I like the independent role that she just had in Beauty and the Beast, one of the biggest movies of whatever. Emma Stone was in Birdman. She was in La La Land. Academy Award nominations up the wazoo. I don't see Emma Watson in those anytime soon.
Technically, she's Academy Award winning.
Did she win?
She won Best Actress for La La Land.
Oh, did she?
Even better.
Yeah, she did.
I always...
Because remember, they
I
saw
forget
Best
that.
Actress when they saw Best
You're
Movie.
right, you're
Right.
Right.
But you didn't mention that, so
I said she was nominated.
yeah.
Well, it's confusing because it makes you think La La Land didn't win anything just because it didn't win Best Picture.
Right.
There was that whole thing and kerfuffle at the end. But...
Okay. All right. So based on those arguments,
That's a good question, though. Best Emma.
Levi, good points with the Harry Potter coming from being around a lot, like really long time. Emma Stone being around just earlier, not as long as Emma Watson's been around. Emma Stone has been put into bigger roles, but Emma Watson's been able to fulfill in more indie roles. I saw John bash Emma Watson a little bit more than commend Emma Stone. And I feel like Levi did both. And I gotta go on the arguments.
What do you think, Beth?
I don't know. I was too distracted.
Yeah. You're not gonna be able to help a lot with these ones. I gotta give it to Levi. I gotta give it to Levi on that one. You had a really good fight, John. And your pitch for Marty McFly Back to the Future thing was fantastic. I would go see that movie 100%. It sounds amazing.
Yeah.
You did good. You did really good. And it was a really fun fight having all three of you. But you could stay.
This is hard.
Yes. I can't wait for our next movie fight where I get to fight and one of you guys gets to judge.
Whoever wins should judge the next one.
That's a good idea. That's a good idea.
Really
Okay.
nice speed round.
Me too. Okay. Okay.
So,
Oh,
now
yeah.
we're on to the speed round. The score is Nikki. Oh, that's an
Mickey?
Now that tiebreaker does not count.
Right,
for
so
the
still
It doesn't
it's
count
3
for-
to 1.
It,
still
it
3-1?
doesn't. Okay.
No,
3.
Right?
correct.
They don't do. Yeah, usually if there's a tiebreaker, it's just who goes.
It's
Nikki
just to
has
figure out
3.
who-
Yeah. Levi has 1. Wow. Okay. First speed round question. Again, you were going to have 20 seconds for your initial debate. Try not to talk right away because Bethany's got to flip the thing around.
I'll make sure Bethany's ready.
Yeah, make sure she's ready. First person to say it gets it. Next person, you have time, so use your time carefully to think about what you're going to say. 10 seconds for your rebuttals, and I got to go off on what I hear.
All right.
This one's...
Wait, I can see the question.
Oh, can you?
Yeah. Sorry, I don't want to cheat, but it's okay.
Okay.
Okay, wait. Clarifying. What am I doing for the timer?
20, 20,
20
same
seconds.
thing. 20, 20, 10, 10.
Okay. So, first question. This one's... I've been chewing on this one for a while, and I really, really like this one.
Okay.
Who would you rather have dinner with? Nicolas Cage or Shia LaBeouf?
Shia
Nicolas
LaBeouf.
Cage.
Ooh, okay.
I like it.
Hold on. Isn't that a good Okay. I heard
I think Levi was first.
Levi first. You was clearly on when I was on Esquatch.
Right.
Okay. Go ahead, Levi. Your 20 seconds starts when you start talking.
Shia LaBeouf is just a really interesting person. He's kind of crazy. You don't know what you're going to get at dinner. It's going to be a really, really interesting dinner. Nick Cage is just going to be really loud the whole time, talking about this and like, oh man. And then but Shia LaBeouf, he may be doing his art thing. He may be really quiet. You can do whatever you want. Maybe just want a night in silence. He may do that for you. Or he may be reenacting Transformers. It'd be really funny. Or you could just talk about holes the whole time and how great he was as a kid.
All right, that's it. I had no idea where this was gonna go. That's so good. Okay, Nikki, whenever you're ready. Right, Betsy, you're good. Okay.
Nicolas Cage isn't just loud all the time. I mean, that's, people kind of go at like, the beast, So I feel like Nicolas Cage and Shia LaBeouf are equally as loud and quiet in each of their movies. Because then you have Nicolas Cage was in Raising Arizona, which is like my favorite movie of all time, and I can talk to him about that and working with the Coen brothers and how amazing that must have been. And he's just been in the business for so...
Shia LaBeouf is closer to my age. I grew up watching all of his movies. I'd have more fun at dinner with Shia LaBeouf. Nick Cage would be like, oh, hey, how's acting going? But Shia LaBeouf, he's worked with different directors that I think are cool.
Okay. I'm ready when you are, Nikki.
Okay. Yeah, Nicolas Cage is older, but that means he's been in the business. Like, he's worked with, like, everybody in Hollywood. And he's, like, Hollywood royalty because he's actually technically a Coppola, and he changed his name to, like, not... Yeah.
That 10 seconds is a tough one.
It is.
How would you even... I don't know.
That's why I tried to do it in one breath.
Yeah. You really got to know what you're gonna say. Okay. Bethany, what did you think? Oh yeah, you're no help at all. You're doing timing. John, what did you think?
They both made really good points. I like Levi's points about the fact that he's younger and you'd have more to talk about on that level, but that's not the reason you are going to dinner with an actor. For that reason, Nikki said he's been in the business longer, he's worked with more directors. I would choose Nikki's.
That is a really good point. I like what Levi said about him being, our age, having more in common, but at the same time, you going to dinner with somebody, an actor or actress, you want it to be kind of like an interesting experience as far as what you could get out of it. That being said, I like what Levi said. You don't know what you're gonna get. If you could get complete silence, or you could have him reenact Transformers.
Why would you want that?
I think it would be funny. I think it would be entertaining.
He could have a bag on his head the whole time.
Yeah, and then you take it off and he's crying underneath. That would be a lovely dinner.
It could be a story.
Hey, it could be a
Talking
great
about
story.
Arizona, you brought up good thing with Holes. You brought a good thing with Arizona. The Coen brothers. He's been in the business longer. I'm gonna go with Nikki on this one. So Nikki's got 4. You're not out of it yet, Levi.
I should have talked about I don't know.
You should have
I
said
know,
like,
it's like-
you could talk about how hot Megan Fox is or
Yeah.
something.
That's what I was gonna say. I was gonna be like you worked with Harrison Ford. Harrison Ford.
Yeah. Okay.
If he's doing the art thing, you could take his phone. Think of all the people you could call from his phone.
Right. Okay. So, this again along the same lines as the best Emma. Now,
Actor with
yeah,
that name.
Yeah.
First name.
This one's a good one.
Okay.
Who is the best? Chris.
Pratt.
Any Chris.
Has to be an actor.
Yeah.
Christopher Lloyd.
Somebody at my work mentioned Chris Farley.
Aw.
And I thought,
Oh.
I didn't even think of that.
I didn't either.
I was like, that is the best Chris.
I was thinking Chris.
Chris.
Christ.
Christ.
Like what?
From the Passion of the Christ. Okay.
Chris T.
Chris T. Yeah.
Okay. I heard Pratt first. Nikki, whenever you're ready. 20 seconds.
Oops.
Wait, what's the question again? Just best?
Best
Okay.
Chris.
In Amy Poehler's memoir, she said when they first hired Chris Pratt, he was supposed to only be on Parks and Recreation for a couple episodes, and he blew them away with his humor, and they made him a permanent member of the cast. And from there, he's only gone up and up. He made Guardians of the Galaxy an obscure comic into the most lovable character in the whole entire Marvel Cinematic Universe, and he's just lovable and goofy and charming and hilarious.
Chris Pratt is great, but unfortunately, I'm afraid he's going to go too fast, and he's going to get too big. Everyone's wanting him to be the next Harrison Ford. I don't think that's the case. Christopher Lloyd's been in the business a long time. He's been in great roles like Back to the Future and been in Who Framed Roger Rabbit. Great roles. He's a great actor and just got all the history behind him being in the spotlight for so long.
Okay. Rebuttals? Nikki?
Yeah, I
Or
know.
you're
I'm
thinking?
thinking.
Okay.
I'm thinking. Yeah.
You didn't have a thinking face on. You're scratching your arm.
Because I drew on my neck accidentally. Okay. All right. Yes, Christopher Lloyd's been in the business longer, but he's also been in actually less movies. Like you said, Back to the Future and Who Framed Roger Rabbit, that's like basically all he's been in. He's been in a couple other random movies. Like Chris Pratt has already been in more movies, and now then.
this is the argument for the best Chris. Chris Pratt's been in a few good movies, not necessarily worthy to be the best. Christopher Lloyd was Doc Brown. That is one of the best roles there has been ever. Period. In one of the best movies ever.
That was good. That was intense. Both picked really good Chris's. I didn't even think of Christopher Lloyd.
Me neither.
That was a good one. And that's just it. You got
I can't.
the Chris's.
There's only so much I can say against Doc Brown.
Well, I was kind of leading Chris Evans, but I was like, I don't know. It's like you get into that where it's just either Chris Evans
Who's
or
hotter.
It's just
right?
a
Yeah,
wash.
it's
It's
like
a wash.
Right.
now.
Yeah. And so
They're
I don't think it's a wash between Chris Pratt and Chris Evans, though, personally.
who are some of the other Chris's you could go with?
Chris
Chris Pine, Chris
Pine,
Hemsworth,
Chris Hemsworth,
Christopher Walken.
Christopher
I was thinking
Christian Bale.
Reeves.
Christian Bale,
Christopher Reeve.
Chris Rock.
Christopher
Chris
Reeves.
Rock.
Yeah, there's a lot of them out there.
Yeah.
There are. It's a popular name.
John, weigh in.
This is hard. I think they both had really good points. I like Levi's point that he was in good movies, but then Nikki's saying, well, Chris Pratt has already been in more movies. At the end of the day, I think Levi really won it out because he said, that doesn't really matter. This is the best. This is someone with the legacy. And what he said about they're thinking he's going too fast, too far, too fast. Christopher Lloyd is established.
Yeah,
You can't
I
argue with that.
agreed with that too. I liked what Levi said where they're trying to make him the next Harrison Ford and nobody can fill those shoes. And I like how, Doc, Back to the Future,
Old Frank Roger Rabbit.
Roger.
Oh,
yeah.
Frank.
Oh,
Aw.
Frank Roger Rabbit. You didn't bring out Clue. Clue was a great movie.
Oh, yeah.
I'm gonna give it to Levi on that
He was
one.
in that.
Yeah, I was gonna say Nikki's argument that about Christopher Lloyd not being in very many on IMDb as an actor, he's got 215 credits.
Wow.
Chris Pratt has 45.
Oh.
Whoa, that was a good
Alright.
fact check.
That was a very good fact check.
Ooh,
I can
Bethany
see it,
gets
I
a
can
point on
see
that
it,
one.
I can't.
All right.
Like I said, there's only so much I can say against Doc Brown.
Okay. Good. That was a good one, though. Okay. Speed round question number 3.
Nikki 4, Levi 2.
Yep, that's how it's going right now.
How we doing on time? For the
21 minutes.
okay.
Okay, we're going through these speed rounds good.
I still have my thing set on.
Okay, third question. Most quotable movie.
Oh, brother, where art thou?
Dumb and Dumber.
Those are both really quotable. That's good. That's good. I'd have picked like Kung Pao probably. I
yeah, we
quote
used
Kung
to-
Pao
yeah.
all the time. But that's just me. All right, so 20 seconds whenever you go, whenever you're ready, Levi with Oh Brother.
Oh, brother, where art thou is Coen Brothers gold. You watch it the first time, you're like, I don't know. Watch it the second time, you start quoting it. You watch it again and again and again. You quote it all the time. I don't get it, Big Dan. All the time. Dumb and Dumber, it's funny, but I don't. You maybe one or two quotes I'd say on a daily basis. I say I don't get it, Big Dan, every single day, and you say like, can I count on you, people?
Wire.
Oh, there you go. Okay.
I thought you wasn't totally.
all right.
Did I win?
Okay.
Dumb and Dumber. All right, Nikki.
Dumb and Dumber quotes I feel like are more adaptable to everyday life. Like anytime you have an awkward conversation, it's like big gulp, eh? Well, see you later. Or like I feel like I'm running at an incredible rate. Or every time you think you can't get any dumber, you do something like this and totally redeem yourself. It's like there's just so many quotable lines in that movie, and it just always ends up coming up. Sometimes radio. Who needs a radio? Ready, Lloyd? Ready, Harry?
All right. Levi, 10-second rebuttal.
With Oh Brother, whenever you make an Oh Brother quote, if someone knows that, man, it's an instant connection. There's a lot of people that love Oh Brother. Dumb and Dumber, I feel like you have to explain the quote to someone that a lot of people aren't going to get. Oh Brother is like instant.
Nikki?
I think Oh Brother is more of a niche movie that not as many people have seen. I think pretty much everybody has seen Dumb and Dumber at some point in their life. And if you talk about Lloyd and Harry, they're going to know who you're talking about, and they're going to relate to that quote, and they're going to laugh because it's a funny movie.
Wow. John?
I honestly think that Nikki's point of when she said that more people have seen Dumb and Dumber was not really answering Levi's, where he said when you say it, people will automatically know it. That doesn't mean less. It's not an issue about who's seen it less or more. You were describing scenes. He was describing quotes.
I was
So
saying
I
the
would
things that they say.
They say that.
Moe didn't like it.
There's full-fledged scenes that have to go around that embody those quotes. I know you didn't make that argument, but it is about he's thrown up about quotes, and I
Oh.
No.
Like a dog that returns to his vomit.
I'm
Yeah.
kind of split. I wouldn't lean towards my decision, but I'm leaning a little bit more towards Levi.
I think I am as well. It's not necessarily about who's going to get the quotes, because I've quoted things my whole life that nobody ever knows what I'm talking about. And it's about what things are going to apply to... Oh, boy, Moby. What things are going to apply to everyday situations. The fact that when Levi said "Oh brother" and he started quoting the "I don't get it, Big Dan," and he uses them every day, and the fact that we all just started breaking
Well, it's because
out.
your dad's name is Dan.
No, the fact that
funny
we
thing
all
is-
I
broke
don't
down-
have a person in my everyday life named Dan.
or Lloyd.
the funny thing is, like, a lot of other guys, when they see my dad, they say, "Oh, Big Dan." Like,
Yeah, I was honestly thinking, you said Dumb and Dumber. The only thing I could possibly think of is Big Gulps, and after that, it was just scenes.
Yeah, it was for me.
You don't, when you're in a car, go like,
No,
running in the background.
not once.
I don't remember that.
I honestly couldn't
Again,
remember
and
that.
I think what Levi said about Oh Brother being more rewatchable than Dumb and Dumber, I feel like that's got it for me. I'm gonna give it to Levi on this one.
Well,
Alright.
I didn't want to say this, but the other thing I was trying to think of things, and I couldn't think of anything. That was the only thing I could think of. Yeah, the only Dumb and Dumber one I could think of was, "So you're saying there's a chance?"
Oh, yeah.
That's the only one I could think of.
That's
See,
a
if
good
you would have
one.
said, if you would have come out with one more quote that I had even heard of, I was like,
Redeem yourself. I say that one a lot.
Yeah.
Duh, it's the Rockies.
Duh, it's the Rockies, yeah.
Radio.
Come
Who
on.
needs a radio?
Yeah.
You did have a lot of good
Oh,
quotes.
and thanks, it's a cardigan. But
Actually, it's a cardigan, but thanks for noticing.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good.
"Are you in OFT?"
Are you in it?
OFT,
Yeah.
What was the other one?
Honestly,
What does he know? He's an ignorant old fool.
Yeah, exactly. What does he know? He's an ignorant old man.
I say
you
that.
said
Grab a
that,
guava.
I literally had this exact experience 2 days ago with our friends who someone was putting on someone else's scarf and they're like, "This smells like the rosemary stuff I put in my hair," and I was like, "Have you even used my hair treatment?" It's like,
Satisfying
your
aroma
hair
is-
treatment.
Satisfying aroma is half the appeal of good pomade. The grease bottle.
Oh,
man.
right.
That, once you quote one line, if that other person loves you
They'll
go back
rebut
and
it.
That was
That's
a good
exactly
point.
what
That was a good point.
That was
Yeah.
exactly it. When Levi
It
was done with his
reciprocates.
argument, we all just started quoting "Oh Brother," and I think it was just more of a quotable movie. That was good. That was good.
What's the score?
3-4.
Ooh.
Nikki's got 4. Levi's got 3. Fourth question.
Okay, gotta step this up.
Now this one could be interesting. Best cartoon TV show.
Hey, Arnold.
Is this TV fights? I didn't check.
A lot of my extensive knowledge.
Wait a
Goes
minute.
on
Best
TV.
cartoon TV show? You kidding me? SpongeBob.
Okay. I was half expecting Nikki to pick Adventure Time.
I do love Adventure Time, but
But again, all right. So argue them. Nikki said, "Hey Arnold" first. 20 seconds when you're ready, Nikki.
Hey Arnold is a kids show that's goofy and funny, but it also has like deep character points. And between like Arnold, Helga, Gerald, like every character in that show gets their arc and they get their like moment to shine and their episode that's about them. And Arnold helps all of them in some way or another. It teaches you how to be a better person. You can relate to these characters. It's always like bittersweet. It's just a lovely show.
I'm ready. Everybody can quote this show. It comes down to the quotability again. Everybody has SpongeBob quotes that they know. The East, I thought you said West. I said that today. I say it every time we're in a car, and it's a great show. Everyone loves it. I don't know a single person that is a kid that grew up with SpongeBob that doesn't like it. Hey Arnold.
Hey Arnold came out in the heyday of Nickelodeon, and it still held its own. SpongeBob came at the end of the heyday of Nickelodeon, and it's what drove Nickelodeon into the ground because they put all their eggs in the SpongeBob basket and in nothing else.
I disagree with that because Nickelodeon then turned to live action and ruined cartoons. SpongeBob is the last cartoon holding on for dear life. Hey Arnold, I don't remember much about it. I remember everything about SpongeBob. Hey Arnold, all I remember is the baseball episode.
Those last 2 points with the last good show versus the one that drove it down. That's where the argument really... That's a really good part of the argument. Did SpongeBob keep Nickelodeon afloat as long as possible? Or was Nickelodeon doomed because they put all their eggs into SpongeBob? I liked the idea of the quotability. And I really liked the idea that Hey Arnold was during Nickelodeon's heyday. The fact that this came out at a time when, like, you had Rugrats, you had Hey Arnold, you had Ah Real Monsters,
Rocko's Modern
Life. This is back when we were kids and we were watching cartoon shows. Nikki said that it's more relatable and it's teachable. And I liked what Nikki said about every character having their time to shine. At the same time, SpongeBob, like Levi said, you can't not like SpongeBob. It's pure comedic genius a lot of the time. What did you think, John?
Those are both really good. I think Levi made more of the argument that SpongeBob is funnier. He made the point that he doesn't know much about Hey Arnold, but he still remembers SpongeBob, which has nothing to do with the show, but has to do with how old he was when those shows came out.
I do remember watching Hey Arnold, though.
Yeah, I think when it comes down to best, I think Nikki simply made more arguments as to why, and not just because it's funny and people like it.
Yeah.
It's best because what she's saying is more important.
I agree. Nikki did give more reasons why. I'm going to go with Nikki on that, which makes Nikki the winner with 5 points and Levi with 3. But that was a good fight. And unfortunately, we didn't get to the question that I'm going to pose to all 3 of you as a speed round question for all 3 of you, because this is the best question so far. One of my favorite ones. Yeah, but we'll let them duke it out.
All right.
This could be just like a question for everybody.
Okay.
I was going to say one other thing, but I forgot. Best movie to come out in 2016.
Arrival.
Best movie to come out. I'm trying to go through everything.
Yeah,
Movies that came out.
I can't.
I looked it up.
I honestly can't think of what came out this year, last year. I don't.
What do you think, John?
I can't think. I'm thinking.
Oh, battery.
Oh.
Oh, really?
That's the timer. We got 13 minutes.
Oh,
Okay. Come on, Levi. You know.
I have a couple.
You know what?
I'm gonna
You know
say,
what the right answer is.
What, the writing and carrying?
Yeah.
2016.
What, Batman?
I'm gonna say,
What, Civil War? Didn't that come out in 2016?
I'm gonna say.
Yeah, Civil War was.
What else? Hunt for the Wilder People? Did that come out?
I'm gonna say Rogue One.
Okay, good one.
Are we gonna fight this or?
I'm just curious. What you
Oh,
guys
what
think.
everybody's gonna pick.
What honestly,
So I was
have
gonna
trouble
say
thinking
I
of
was
what
I
came
was
out.
going back and forth between La La Land and Rogue One.
Okay, La La Land did come out.
Oh, that was last year. Okay.
Yeah.
Rogue One, La La Land.
La La Land?
La La Land. Not Split. Split came out this year.
Oh, that was right, January, yeah.
I can't think of a single movie.
Civil War came out last year.
Civil War.
Civil War was good.
I
What's your
think
pick?
Batman vs.
10
Superman.
Cloverfield Lane.
Oh, it's
Oh,
true.
that was really good.
That's
Yeah.
a good one.
Yeah.
Very good.
I don't know, I just thought that would be an interesting
What
one.
about you, Bethany? What was your
hard.
favorite
That's
movie
so hard.
last year?
I need to see a list, and then I need
Yeah,
to
to
argue
be able
that
to
list.
look at a list was really helpful.
Oh, Loving was good too.
I'm not
enjoyed
gonna. Oh,
Star Trek,
love it.
Beyond.
Star Trek Beyond.
Beyond.
That was good. I
Love
like
it.
that.
I can't remember.
Passengers was really good.
Are we in
Oh, we
with
still haven't seen it.
Chris Pratt. I haven't seen it yet.
It was good.
Okay.
All right.
Cool.
So Nikki is the winner of this round of movie family
next- and the
family
judge
movie
of the
fights,
next
and
one.
she's the next
Yay,
judge.
I'm so happy. Yep,
So it's
I'll
your
judge
time,
next time.
to start thinking of questions. Some to pose to us, others to keep to yourself for speed round. I think this was a really good time, and we are going to have a really hard time trying to break this down into a movie to not take 9 years of our life.